already crossed that hurdle. He gave short explanation to it. So I think that one is a... So let me, Honorable Dafiamepo, let me hear you briefly, and then I come to it, then you move on.
Speaker, very, very grateful. Speaker, this is a house of records, procedure and rules. Indeed, my brother, upon the submission by the chair of the Appointments Committee and the first deputy speaker, insisted that he appropriately invoked 97.3. And the issue is that I was hoping he would have submitted forcefully that there's no evidence of that brief explanatory memorandum being given. I was hoping that he would have insisted that there's no such evidence before the House. But the chairman of the committee insisted that in invoking 97.2, he elected to give that short explanation in respect of the memorandum. So I think the issue is about what will constitute that brief explanation or short explanation. It's up to this House to decide. But whatever it is, once he submits that as part of his presentation, the short explanation has been given, then my brother should accede that then 97.2 has been satisfied. So there will be no need to now invoke 97.3. It is when 2 has not been complied with that you invoke 3, with all due respect to him. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honorable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I have followed the discussions on the floor. Our respected senior at the bar, the first deputy speaker, he's done 23 years or more at the bar. His law is solid. His courtroom practice comes with excellence. I respect his views. I believe that sometimes when we are young, our approach may not be the way the elderly would want to approach things. So I can understand how he feels. And I would say that when we meet at the coffee area, I'm sure my respected colleague and junior at the bar and junior in the House would find space to further engage you, and I'll facilitate that. But that notwithstanding, colleagues, this is an opportunity for us to manage ourselves. Best practices will require that where you hold a different view, you make a forceful submission and use the word or the phrase, I disagree, with respect. So you never say somebody is wrong when it comes to a debate. But Mr. Speaker, this matter was brought to the fore by our respected colleague, Kojo Oponkroma, this morning, which is good. It's been a good teaser, and I'm happy it's being explored. I always tell people that the best way to develop our standing orders will be to tease it out and encourage a healthy debate on same. So it's good that today, or the 97 has come to the fore. In fact, the respected Honorable Ayariga, who sooner than later will assume the black seat, actually took us through some intellectual debate. And I nicely chickened out when I realized that my arguments were very weak, and I found a way to invoke jurisprudence, Mr. Speaker. You know how we survive when things are difficult. So I was going around and all. But anyway, that's the beauty of democracy. So I'm sure Honorable Ahiafo, our respected colleague, Bafo, has taken a cue. please, it's good you didn't take the matter too serious, but I'm sure in future he would find a better way of disagreeing with you and take it as it is. Forgive and forget. Is that okay? Yes. So you take it that it's misconceived, it's withdrawn. And in its place, the appropriate phrase is that he disagrees with you. Mr. Speaker, I shall...
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I hope the reports have been distributed. Have the reports been distributed? Very well. If the reports are yet to be distributed, honorable members, honorable member, you need to catch my eye. Honorable member, you need to catch my eye, please.
Speaker, reports have been generally distributed. The leader just walked in. If he hasn't got a copy,
fine. So that's why I just wanted to find out whether the reports have been distributed. Honorable members, may you take your seats?
Why?
Leadership, please take your seats first. Please, leadership, you help the chair to manage the House. Honorable members, new leaders who are here to take the right side of leadership. It's you, together with the minority, that will help the chair to manage the House. So please, let's bear in mind that we are here to do government business and to work for Ghana. So let's help each other so that once we come here, you'll be able to progress whatever is ahead of us. But before I will invite any member to speak, kindly allow me to turn you to page 2 of today's other paper, item listed 4. Honorable members, page 2, item listed 4. Message from the President. We have received a message from the Presidency, of which message I'm going to read to the House. Nomination of ministers for parliamentary approval. In accordance with Article 78(1) and 2561 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, 1992, I submit through you, Mr. Speaker, to Parliament for your prior approval the names of persons attached hereto I intend to appoint as ministers. The nominees' credentials and records of service demonstrate their competence to support the government's agenda and serve the people of Ghana effectively. Attached are their curriculum vitae and supporting documents for vetting. I trust that Parliament will expedite the approval process in accordance with constitutional requirements. Accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurance of my highest consideration. Signed, John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana. And it was addressed to the Speaker of Parliament, and the names are regional ministers: Posin Charles Ruanga, for Upper West Region, Joseph Ade Akwaboa for Bono Region, Francis Owusu Entry for Bono East Region. For the Ministers of States, we have Dr. Edward Kofi Omane Boama for Ministry of Defense, Honorable Samuel Nate George, MP, for Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations. Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kufibua, MP, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Honorable Kofi Idie Adams, MP, Ministry of Sports and Recreation. Honorable Abdul Rashid H. Pelpo, MP, Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment. Honorable Kwabena Minta Akando, MP, Ministry of Health. Honorable Ibrahim Mutala Muhammad, MP, Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. Honorable Joseph Bukali Nipe, MP, Ministry of Transport. Honorable Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak, MP, Ministry of Interior. Honorable Samuel Okujeto Abrakwa, MP, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. A.J. Kenneth Gilbert, Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources. Honorable Emmanuel Kojo Ajekum, MP, Minister of State in charge of Special Initiatives. Honorable Ferris Kwache Ofosu, MP, Minister of State, Government Communications. And finally, Mr. Isifu Seidu, Minister of State, Climate Change and Sustainability. The list is accordingly referred to the Appointment Committee for consideration and report. Yes, Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the step taken by you to bring to the attention of the House this communication from His Excellency the President, particularly so when same was signed by him. We note that quite a number of the appointees, the nominees, are from Parliament, and we therefore appreciate the work of this chamber. On our side, we want to signal the government that we will treat the nominees on case-by-case basis. For those who disrespect rule of law and encourage violence, we will have to make a case for them to know that violence cannot be used to enjoy democracy. Mr. Speaker, we also disappointed in the choice of the president. There are a lot of women on his side. We've had over 30 women being elected to parliament from the NDC majority side. In view of the affirmative action posture of the country, we have passed the affirmative action law, and of all these hard-working women, only a few of them have so far been given substantive ministerial appointments. Is it the case that they are matching them for deputy ministerial appointments? That is not right. Our women cannot be second-class appointees. Mr. President must demonstrate his belief in the capacity, the capability, and the competences of our women. And he must demonstrate that. The Nana Akufo-Addo government demonstrated that women have equal capacity as men, and he demonstrated that. He did that in all his appointments, and the records are out there for all to see. Mr. Speaker, this is Greater Accra. This is Greater Accra. A government should have a representation of all shades of opinion. All stakeholders must find space in a government. In this government, we are not seeing indigenous guns in this government. Yes, we are not seeing. We are not seeing sufficient indigenous gun adangwes
Leader.
in this government.
Leader. Hold on.
Oh, very well, Mr. Speaker. On a point of order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaker,
Yes.
I rise on a point of order that the minority leader, I'm an authority on the rules of parliament. Mr.
Okay,
Speaker,
Honorable Dafiamapo.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable
Mr.
Dafiamapo,
Mr. Speaker,
if you are the authority, then give us the order.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect.
I was just overlooking
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect.
what this side was saying.
Mr.
But
Speaker,
if you say
Mr.
you
Speaker,
are
I rise on the point of order in terms of misinformation.
no, the point
Mr.
is
Speaker,
the point is
Mr. Speaker,
Nelson.
on the matter that
Nelson.
on the matter, Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Nelson.
Mr. Speaker, on the matter that the
Honorable
tangent the
Dafiamapo.
minority leader is taking, it's a very dangerous one.
Honorable leader.
You rise and you speak about tribalism. You
Honorable
hold on.
Speaker.
Honorable Dafiamapo. Honorable Dafiamapo, please. I said earlier on, Honorable Dafiamapo, I said earlier on that it is the leadership that will help the chair to manage the house. So if you are speaking and I want you to hold on and you didn't listen to me, then I find it a bit problematic. Because minority leader was speaking, you rose up, I just saw you, I asked him to stop. So if you're also speaking, and for whatever reason I'm asking you to hold on, you should also respect the chair. Anyway, so you conclude.
Speaker, with all due respect to the minority leader, the tangent that he's taking is very dangerous. The minority leader, the tangent he's taking is very dangerous for the cohesion of this nation. The president has not exhausted his appointments. The president has the executive authority to make over 7,000 appointments. Over 7,000 appointments. We run an executive president in this country, and guns will continue to occupy a very important and enviable position in this government. So the claim that is made on this floor, this hallowed floor, he must withdraw it, Mr. Speaker. Number one, he will withdraw. He will withdraw because there's no basis for putting out such an information. Mr. Speaker, you must urge it upon the minority leader to withdraw that comment.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, second, Mr. Speaker, the business before us, before you decided to invoke item number 1 on the order paper to, as it were, read the communication from the presidency to the House, was for us to conclude the debate on the motion that has been ably moved by the chairperson of the Appointments Committee, the first deputy speaker, and seconded. We have agreed on the number of persons who will contribute towards the debate. So, Mr. Speaker, may I urge you that we conclude that business, because as you speak, that business is in abeyance. Let's conclude that business. Then the minority leader can have his say and whatever it is on this matter. Then we can bring finality. But may I urge you, may I plead with you that we conclude the business in respect of the motion that is presently pending before the House. I humbly submit. Thank you very much.
Well. Yes. Honorable Majority Leader, Minority Leader. I still keep on. No. I want Honorable Afenyo to be on his feet. I want him to conclude what he was saying so that we... No, Honorable Afenyo... Honorable members, the House is run procedurally. He was speaking, somebody came on point of order. So after the point of order,
Speaker, with respect, if you bear endure me, Speaker, if for nothing at all, I'm in leadership. And in this House, the convention and practice has been that when any of us in leadership rises, at least we'll listen to the person. Speaker, would you listen to me?
Yes, I want the majority. I will listen to you, but I want a minority leader to conclude what he was saying. Then,
if he concludes, what I'm going to say will be mute. I want to respond to some of the things Honorable Dafemepo spoke to. Speaker, I thank you. I thank you for your patience. First of all, I want my colleague, who I know eventually he will come into leadership, to appreciate one fact. It's a marathon. 4 years, you are going to be in leadership for a marathon period. You should hasten slowly. Yeah, this temptation of my colleague suddenly getting angry. So listen. He suddenly gets angry. He gets into a certain mood. It's inappropriate. First of all, you made a point which, Honorable Dafemepo, it was totally inappropriate to say that I am an authority on the rules. The interpretation of the orders lies in the bosom of the Speaker, not you. You cannot be an authority when it comes to the interpretation of the rules. That is wrong. Speaker, so he should get that correctly put out. Again, if I were you, when the leader was speaking, I would rather be taking notes. He's made very important points. You are not listening. Take note and transmit same to His Excellency the President. They are conspicuously missing our guns. Is that not a fact? We don't have guns in the appointment so far. How many airways are there featuring in the appointment names that are put out so far? You should take note and communicate same to His Excellency the President to make amends. Don't show aggression. Well, you can decide to defend it, but so far the names that have come out, Mr. Speaker, the minority leader couldn't have captured it better. when he said guys are conspicuously missing. What is your defense to that? Airways are conspicuously missing. The Constitution makes provision for regional balance in such appointment. And you know this. You know this. And so, our advice to them, you have, and besides the point, Speaker, is he available leader or is the whip? I don't know which is which. Is he the available leader or is the majority whip? You should rather take a cue and communicate same to His Excellency the President. Honorable, what is it? Madina, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. He's obviously seeking attention for His Excellency the President to see you. You have lost out on the selection. What do you want to say? You have lost out. Sit down. You have lost out. The names are out. The guys have lost out. The airways have lost out. You should be communicating this with His Excellency the President, not defending it. What are you going to say? Stop defending it. It's wrong.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, we can take things lightly. At times, if you are not careful, we can also instigate certain actions. I think it is the prerogative of the president to nominate ASA. And I know the Constitution also enjoins him to at least be guided with the regional balance. I believe he might be doing that. I have personally not checked with the names, but if minority leader sees, you have checked. So, honorable member, let me finish so that we can go to the substantive matter. Because these are all, let's minority leader finishes so that we can go to the substantive matter of the second appointment committee's report. Please, minority leader, please finish it up for us.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I shall refer my colleagues to Article 35, 5B. Thirty-five, 6B of the Constitution, 35, 6B. Quote, towards the achievement of the objectives stated in Clause 5 of this article, the state shall take appropriate measures to achieve reasonable regional and gender balance in recruitment and appointment of public officers. The state and its government is headed by the president, who alone has executive powers of state. If you read Article 58 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, Article 58 of the Constitution provides, the executive authority of Ghana shall vest in the president and shall be exercised in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution. So I agree with you that Mr. President has the prerogative. But that prerogative, as you again said, must be exercised within the ambit of the Constitution, and that is provided for by Article 35, 6B. Mr. Speaker, my observation is well-founded. So far, we have had chief executive appointments. These chief executive appointments to state-owned institutions have no regional balance. These appointments have no regional balance. The appointment to ministerial office thus far cannot be said to have a fair representation I've already argued the gender imbalance. I've already made that argument. I will not go there. We have Western region. We have Central region. We have Greater Accra, which is predominantly made up of Gans and Adangwes. We have Volta region, generally made up of Evers and Loss. How many of them are being appointed into this government? We have Oti region. How many from Oti are getting the opportunity? Mr. Speaker, if you go to Upper West, Northeast, Mr. Speaker, in the Northeast, they are predominantly Mamprushes. Yes, it's a fact. Yes, it's a fact. Are we seeing a representation of them? This is a constitutional requirement. It is in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, all we are saying is, Mr. President, check the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, maybe I should walk my colleagues through memory lane. When President Kufuor, listen, please, colleagues, we are not just talking. When President Kufuor was in office, I recall, was it his first term or second term? Mr. Speaker, in his first term, it got to a point during the appointment, somebody asked President Kufuor about this same matter. And he said, oh, he's made an appointment to Upper East Regional Minister. He said, no, in your cabinet, at least there should be a representation from all corners of the country. Upper West, very well, thank you. Mr. President, at the time, therefore, made sure that somebody was appointed to fill a Minister of State.
Kasim Kasanga.
Very well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Professor Kasim Kasanga, therefore, came in to fill the Lands Ministry. Our friends should listen. You have come into government. Any useful comment you oppose, you are behaving as though you are in opposition. Please listen to us. At least when you first made that first mistake of letting a secretary to president write to us, and we corrected. Now today, Mr. President himself is writing. Mr. Speaker, I would plead with my colleagues that when we make comments, they should convey to the presidency. Honorable Dafia Meko is now telling us that Mr. President has up to 7,000 appointees to appoint. He says Mr. President has 7,000. Really? So it is no more 60 appointees. Now you are saying, you are telling us that 7,000. So you are going to appoint 7,000
Honorable leader.
Soldiers.
Thank you. You've made your point.
Let me conclude. He is now saying that we should wait. Early days yet. The president is going to appoint 7,000 people. So that we are going to have 7,000 appointees. That is what you are telling us. Mr. Speaker, if that is true, then we'll wait. We'll wait for the 7,000 appointees to come, and then we'll now assess them on whether or not there is a true balance. Because I am looking forward to seeing Ewes, Ga Adangwes.
Thank you, leader.
Looking forward to seeing more Kusasis and Mamprushes, Gonjes, Dagombes in this government. I want to see more of them. We don't want one-way appointments.
Thank you, leader.
It should be constitutional. Thank you so much, sir.
Well. Let me give it to Comfort. Do you?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker,
Let's do the motions.
we have government business to do. but I will respond to this gender and Gadangme issue. Because when it comes to gender, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is the best that you can clap for. Because when he was starting, he started with a woman as his vice president. And the woman is there to fight for women and hold the door for women to pass through. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama promised 60 ministers, and he's supposed to take 50% of the ministers from this chamber.
More than 50%.
More than 50 from this chamber.
Yes.
And we have 16 regions. So if even one region is giving two, it will be 32. So if every region is giving 2, and he has given Greater Accra 2, he has not finished with his appointment yet. What is the big deal? Because Honorable Sam George is Dangbe. Honorable Namomo is a Ga. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama lives in a Ga land, and he gives that respect to the Gans and appreciates the vote he got in the Ga land. And he's going to do the needful. So please, do fear some. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you this story. When a woman is disappointed in his husband, you will see that he assumes talking, every day talking. What is not even necessary to argue about, the woman will be arguing. And this is exactly what is happening to the MPP. This
Thank
is
you.
exactly what is happening
Thank you
to
very
the
much.
MPP.
Thank
Please
you.
allow government business to flow.
Thank you.
We have the second batch of the nominees to appoint.
Thank you.
And the motion has been moved. Mr. Speaker, move straight to the debate. 2 year, 2 year, one leader, making 3-3. Finish. So that President Mahama will get the right people to manage this economy for us. We are ready to reset Ghana. And we are in a hurry to save Ghana from the mess they created. So their plenty talk will not do us anything but sabotage the work of government business. We are pleading with them. They have already exhausted their time, and Ghanaians are not happy, and they voted for us to come and work. So they should allow us to work. Mr. Speaker, second issue. Any first deputy speaker, second deputy speaker, we carry them along in this chamber. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, who is Honorable Ahiafo, has been in this house for the past 12 years, has helped the MPP government with their laws, their bills, and he has done a lot to support them. And all this while, we have been carrying all their first deputy, second deputy speakers along. If he has been well trained and respects each and every one in this chamber, doesn't mean we should take his respectful for granted. Mr. Speaker, they should respect his leadership. They should respect his leadership. Today, I'm not happy at all because ever since he became the first deputy speaker, all their plans is they will take advantage of his respectfulness, and then yes, that's exactly what they are doing.
Leader,
If he has been well trained, doesn't mean
Leader.
they should take advantage of that
Leader.
and disrespect him. That's why it will work.
Leader,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader, I think the first deputy speaker is fortified enough to go through this. It's part
Mr.
of the
Speaker,
game.
they should stop harassing him. They always want to harass him. They should stop it.
The harassment
They should stop it.
is
Some
for
of
all
us
of
will
us.
not take it.
So-
They should stop it because it will turn to another thing. They should stop it. The man is very, very respectful person in this chamber.
Honorable Comfort, do you? Like I'm saying, Honorable Bernard Ehiafo, he has what it takes to go through this. So, I mean, he's fortified enough to, let's take this as part of the game. Yes, Honorable Member for Asante Achem Central.
Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful. Mr. Speaker, accept that I rise to ask from the chair for direction. Mr. Speaker, I know there was communication from the president, and the leader got up to make a comment on that. So, Speaker, I'm realizing that we are doing a debate on this, and I'll be very grateful if the chair will direct where we are. This should not generate into a heated debate. And I think the comment that was made should not be, and in my view, should not be a harmful comment, and it wasn't harmful indeed. And it has generated into a debate, which should not be. So, Mr. Speaker, it's about time that we curtail this and move on. There are other things that we have to do, and I'll be grateful if we can proceed and end this debate. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Honorable members, I think Honorable Anyime Dukulu has said the right thing. So we are moving on. Let's turn to page 3, item 12. Item 12, motion by the chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity to move the item numbered 12 at page 3 of today's order paper, that notwithstanding the provision of our own standing order 1041, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given. The motion for the adoption of the second report of the appointment committee on His Excellency the President's nomination for appointment as ministers may be now moved. Mr. Speaker, I so moved.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, motion 12 has been moved. Any seconder? Yes, the minority leader.
Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, motion 12 is procedural, so I'll go ahead to put the question. All those in favor that motion listed 12 be adopted, say aye. All those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is hereby adopted. Now let's take the substantive motion 13.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I rise to move the motion number 13 at page 3 of today's order paper, that this House adopts the second report of the Appointment Committee on His Excellency the President's nomination for appointment as ministers. And Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I present the committee's report. Right, Honorable Speaker, the President's nomination of Honorable Governors Kwame Agboja as a Minister for Roads and Highways, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Minister responsible for Education, Honorable Eric Opoku, was referred to the committee responsible for appointment. Mr. Speaker, the committee, after due deliberations and vetting of the respective minister designates, present this particular report to the House for consideration. And Mr. Speaker, I urge the House to adopt the report after further urging the Hansard Department to capture the entire report as having been read by me. Mr. Speaker, I then proceed to look at paragraph 7.0 of the report, that is the conclusion. Mr. Speaker, the committee, in accordance of the provisions of Article 78(1) of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and Standing Order 217, deliberated on the 3 ministerial nominations made by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana. The nominees exhibited competence, extensive knowledge, and exceptional skills in addressing matters relevant to their respective ministries. The committee therefore recommends to the House by consensus, Mr. Speaker, consensus, unanimity, the adoption of its report and the approval of Honorable Kwame Governors Agboja as the Minister responsible for Roads and Highways. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kwame Governors Agboja currently is the Majority Chief Whip. Mr. Speaker, we further recommend for adoption by the House Honorable Haruna Idrisu as Minister responsible for Education. He was the former minority leader. And Mr. Speaker, finally, we recommend that the House approve Honorable Eric Opoku, who has been a long-standing ranking member on food and agriculture. Mr. Speaker, respectfully submitted. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, the motion has been moved and it's now for secondment. Yes. Honorable Member for Futu and the minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, on this rising, I am to second the motion, and I'm doing so. I want to make some few observations. First, to commend the chair of the committee for his industry in seeing to it that we conduct this exercise. Mr. Speaker, the report of the committee is a 7-paragraph report with unnumbered pages. I shall start first with Honorable Haruna Idrisu. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, an experienced member of the House, distinguished himself during the vetting process. But outside of the House, had some issues regarding some key policy commitments of the NDC in its manifesto. Mr. Speaker, the NDC in its manifesto made a commitment to Ghanaians that it was going to ensure free first-year tuition for our children going to the tertiary. So in other words, parents, upon hearing this, voted for them, thinking that if the NDC should assume office, the first year fees will be paid. Is this NDC government telling Ghanaians that there is a voice for taking votes and another voice for governing? That when they campaign, they say one thing, and when they govern, they say another? Mr. Speaker, what I was expecting the respected Honorable Harry Nedrisu to tell us was that the government was going to call for the total enrollment and order the universities not to levy the students or waive it, and government was going to reimburse the universities. What are we hearing? What are we hearing? That the parent should go and look for money and pay and apply for refund. Let it be heard here and now. We don't trust your government to do refund. This was an answer given to us during the hearing. The Honorable Harry Nedrisu said that students will receive refund when they apply. Mr. Speaker.
Leader.
Oh, is that the part we are going to go?
I don't know.
Mr. Speaker, is that the part? He has moved. I'm seconding. This, is that the part we are going to go? Mr. Speaker, if you entertain these things will degenerate. Mr. Speaker, he has moved this motion. Mr. Speaker, he has moved this motion. He has an opportunity. Why not?
I'm coming.
All right.
Honorable First Deputy Speaker.
Okay.
You move the motion. Please, let's indulge him so that, because we have to move. So, leader, move on.
They so think they are in opposition, where everything they will get up and react. Please, Bojidi, patience. Mr. Speaker, we expected this government to have issued a directive to the universities that don't charge fees. Parents, poor parents, have gone for loans to pay school fees. Poor parents are struggling. Some people have their admission letters. There is no money. They cannot go. And you are telling them that you should pay, so we refund. What of those who will not get the means to go? What you are saying is that if they don't go, you won't pay. Mr. Speaker, is this another form of matricle policy? Mr. Speaker, this is unacceptable. If the NDC government means business, that it is committed to a social intervention program, such as providing free tuition for first-year students, it should do so. And now, Mr. Speaker, the records of Hansard will testify that when the Akufo-Addo government came into office, free SHS policy was not deferred. Indeed, it was implemented. The And now, the very academic year, Mr. Speaker, the very academic year, Mr. Speaker, the government of Akufo-Addo did not defer the implementation of free SHS. In spite of the doubts on the policy, the government implemented free SHS in the first academic year that the NPP assumed office. Clearly, the MDC has no such commitment. It is obvious that they misled the people of Ghana into believing that they would enjoy free tuition at the tertiary level for the first year. Mr. Speaker, what is happening is shameful. Parents are in pain. Parents are suffering. Parents feel misled. The university, Mr. Speaker, the university academic year started in January. If you don't know, I'm telling you, there's a university in my constituency. In January, the SSC result, the WASI result, came out in December. Students bought admission forms, relying on your first year free tuition policy. They bought the forms. Mr. Speaker, I want this government to conduct a survey in all the universities, all the tertiary institutions. Mr. Speaker, very few students who got admission have so far made it. Very few, because parents cannot afford. Because parents cannot pay. And instead of just taking the records, all you need to do, Mr. Speaker, all that the government needs to do is to go to all the universities, all the tertiary institutions, take the records of all those who gain admission, and give a directive that allow them in, and we will reimburse you. Why do you tell them that students should pay, and that you are going to refund? Mr. Speaker, what it means practically is that those who are unable to pay, they cannot attend the university. They will stay at home, so that they will add up to the unemployment burden, and then these same people eventually will have no hope, and they may get involved in some thuggery in the country. Mr. Speaker, I want the Minister of Education designate to take immediate steps upon assumption of office to issue a directive to all the tertiary institutions to forward the total enrollment to his office for reimbursement. That would be a true commitment that he is walking the talk. We will hold your feet to the fire. You think you just campaign, so you've gotten it on a silver platter. You will see. You say we are micro minority. You will see. You will see. With time, Ghanaians will see your true colors, and all of us will see your true colors. You will not have it free. We are going to ensure that we follow every single promise you made when you were on the campaign platform, promising. Today, you are in government. Mr. Speaker, the second point is feeding at our secondary schools. President John Dramani Mahama promised and said was scripted in their manifesto to the effect that they were now going to release money to the head teachers to buy the food items. We are looking forward to that. The nominee gave some answers. We don't want to see anything less. The president said the issue about buffer stock, purchasing food items and distributing them to our schools, that policy was not helpful. So he would give the money directly so that they can buy the agbelema, they can buy the gari, they can buy the tuna and all. So, Honorable Education Minister nominee, if they swear you in tonight, tomorrow we expect you to be at the Ministry of Education. And we expect you again to implement this policy. No bend, no curve. You cannot move backwards on this matter. The head teachers are expectant. And then also, Mr. Speaker, the nominee promised that the many day schools will be converted into boarding facilities. He committed to that. We expect that you immediately take steps to address all of these. Mr. Speaker, that is that for the Education Minister. I shall now move on to my respected colleague, Kwame Agboja Governs. Mr. Speaker, Governs Kwame Agboja told the whole country, and this morning I saw that graphic had captured him on a good front page about the indebtedness at the road sector. What Kwame failed to tell Ghanaians was that yes, there was indebtedness, but many more roads have been constructed. What he failed to tell Ghanaians was that the Akufo-Addo government made sure that many roads, especially the Eastern Corridor Road, which was abandoned, today travel within the city of Accra, Greater Accra. All of us, we are here in this city. We know how it is to travel, to drive through Greater Accra. We know. La Beach Road was initiated by the Akufo-Addo government. It was initiated, Honorable Member for La, respectfully. Let me debate. If for some reason our administration could not complete, we expect Mr. Agboja to take immediate steps. We want the La Beach Road to be constructed, and we are waiting for it. Mr. Speaker, we expect them to find the money to pay the many road constructors who have done government work. We do not want excuses. We don't want them to create MPP contractors and NDC contractors. We don't want discrimination. We expect them to do what is right in the road sector. And we are waiting on them on this issue of road tolls. They say that they are going to do digitalization. We were of the opinion that they will lessen the burden on Ghanaians when it comes to levies and taxes, because they are committed to it. Now you are going to impose another levy. So, Mr. Speaker, when they remove the e-levy, they are going to look for the money on road tolls. So the value is the same. They claim that they are going to repeal the e-levy law and introduce road toll and even charge more. That is the conflict you are interested in. You are not committed to relieving the Ghanaians of the burden you claim was on the ordinary Ghanaian. I want you, if you indeed committed to the ordinary Ghanaian, don't introduce any roto. Don't. Kwame Agboja told us that they are going to introduce rotos. They are going to introduce more levies. They are going to levy the ordinary Ghanaian more. So you take one out, introduce 2 more. You take one out, introduce 10 more. Mr. Speaker, that is not acceptable. For Honorable Eric Opoku, and Mr. Speaker, I shall conclude on him. He has said so many things about the agro sector. It is one thing being outside, and another thing when you have control. We are looking forward to he implementing all the policies in the agro sector. His records are there. All that he said during the vetting, Hansard has captured. From time to time, he will be asked questions. The commitment he made to the vegetable farmers, the commitment he made to the farmers, poultry farmers, the land tenure system that he said, oh, he's going to introduce something new. We are waiting. We wish him well. We really wish him well. But he should walk the talk. Mr. Speaker, this said, and without more, I shall rest my case and second this motion to enable this House debate and approve these nominees who, by the report, we have already agreed that it be taken by consensus. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much.
Honorable members, the motion has been moved. The motion has been seconded. It is now before the House for consideration. But, honorable members, irrespective of the time the mover and especially the seconder has taken, I want to regulate the rest of the time. Please indulge me. I wouldn't allow members to go beyond 5 minutes. So I'm giving 4 to each side.
Mr. Speaker, I don't want surprises. Mr. Speaker, I don't want surprises. We've agreed 5-5, nothing will change. With the greatest respect, if we do that, it helps all of us. We agreed 5-5 in conclave. Let's go by it. Nothing will change.
Well. Please, don't worry. Don't worry. I will take it. 5-5. But nobody should speak more than 5 minutes. Please indulge me. Because I understand the appointment committee, you have a nominee to even. So please, 5-5. 5 minutes. So let me have the list so that I will start from Honorable Member for Boko Central. Please, 5 minutes. Help me so that we all work around this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to speak in support of adopting the report of the committee in respect of the nomination by Honorable Kwame Agboja for the Ministry of Roads and Highways, and Honorable Haruna Idrisu for Ministry of Education, and Honorable Eric Opoku, Ministry of Roads and Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, we're all aware that these are all colleagues who have been with us in this Parliament and by the constitutional provisions are definitely qualified for the nomination to the various posts to which they have been designated. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said about the nominees. And in seconding the motion, the Honorable Minority Leader, who appears to have studied the manifesto of the NDC inside out, and who appears to have fallen in love with the manifesto and the promises of the NDC. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, as I listened to him, I'm wondering whether he didn't vote for the NDC. Mr. Speaker, he shows so much love for the promises that we made. And every day he commits himself and promises that he's going to ensure that the promises we made to the people are implemented. If he doesn't believe in those promises, I don't see why he is that committed to the implementation of those promises. So, Mr. Speaker, I am happy to observe that the minority leader has fallen in love with the promises made by the NDC. But let me assure him that we have started implementing the promises. I can tell him on authority that the President John Dramani Mahama has already transferred over 101 million cedis to the secondary schools to deal with the purchases that he's talking about. I can show you evidence. I can show you evidence of the transfer. I can show you evidence of the transfer. That His Excellency the President is dealing with the issues in secondary schools. He has directed that food that we had purchased to deal with some other problem, but because of the emergency involving secondary education, he has directed that the rice and the maize be distributed to them. So the schools don't have problem with food. They have enough food. And then in addition to distributing the food to the secondary schools, he has made direct transfers to secondary schools so that they can purchase ingredients that they need to provide food for the students. So we have started implementing the promises because we are people who keep to our promises. Just as we promise a lean government, and we are clearly implementing a lean government. We are promising equity in the distribution of appointments, and we are implementing equity in the distribution of appointments.
Thank you. Begin to wind up for me.
So, Mr. Speaker, we are not reneging on any of our promises. The Minister Designate for Education is needed at post to deal with the problem of the payment of fees by first-year tertiary education students. So if you approve him and he gets to the office, he will definitely deal with this particular issue, which is clearly a commitment that we have made in our manifesto. So, Mr. Speaker, on that note, I urge colleagues to adopt the report so that we can give approval to the President to swear in these ministers so that they can hurriedly address the question of the payment of first-year university fees. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very, very much. Let me turn to Honourable Member for Bosumtwi, Honourable Educhum, the immediate past Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, beginning with the Minister for Agric, a distinguished member of this House, I want to wish him well as he proceeds to solve the various challenges that he has outlined and the promise to the cocoa farmers, the vegetable farmers, and all the other farmers. As my deputy the minority leader has said, we are waiting and we are watching. Mr. Speaker, Rose, our minister designate, Honorable Abuja is a distinguished member of this House. From the veteran, there are many things that he brought out that he was going to do. And I think it's a question of monitoring to make sure the promises made will be promises kept. Mr. Speaker, moving on to education, the minister designate said many things, of course, outlining his party's manifesto and pledging that the manifesto commitments will be delivered. Mr. Speaker, the issue of the fees for tertiary students, I think we've heard a lot about it. Look forward to a situation where universities will at least be encouraged to allow those students who applied to them with a hope that they will not have to pay the fees for the first year. Allow them to come in and not sit at home Because if they don't, they're going to lose their spot. And I think if this commitment is there, it's much, much easier on the parents if the government was to speak to the universities, asking them to give them grace and allow them to enter, and that their fees will be paid. I think it's a better option than closing admissions, shutting the door in the faces of those who thought it was going to be free and therefore applied, and telling them that go and look for money, and if you can look for money to pay, then we'll reimburse you and reimburse your parent. Mr. Speaker, in many, reading the manifesto of the NDC, private schools participation in free secondary education, I'm waiting to see the fine details. Waiting to see the fine details as to how you abolish double track and keep pre-sec going. Abolish double track right now. All first-year students of pre-sec will have to be sent back home. First-year students of Pokuwari will have to go back home. So I'm looking forward to the details of the proposal. But Mr. Speaker, having said all that, I have confidence in the expertise and the policy grasp of the minister designate, and I hope they will be able to implement all the policies that ensure that we continue to march forward in the area of education. So much has been done, and I would hate to see us take a step back instead of taking a step forward. So I look forward and expect that public school transformation will continue, that the middle class of Ghana, who are working so hard to find money to pay the fees of their children in private schools, that burden will be eased by creating quality public schools. We began a journey, and I hope that journey will be continued for the benefit of Ghanaians, to ensure that in our villages, leaking roofs will be replaced, and that will be able to create better learning environment for all children. We need to have a Ghana where both from deprived means and advantaged means
Honorable Member, you should begin
get the
to wind up.
opportunity for quality education. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. So let's turn to Honorable Eric Edemabana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the second report of the Appointments Committee on His Excellency President's nominations of the 3 senior members of this House for the various ministerial positions. I would want to respectfully begin with the Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. The Honorable Kwame Gavins Agboja, at the vetting yesterday, discharged himself excellently and displayed mastery over the sector. We are confident that given the opportunity as Minister responsible for roads and highways, Ghana's roads infrastructure will see some massive improvement. However, Mr. Speaker, it was quite alarming yesterday to learn that the previous government that boasted of constructing about 11,000 kilometers of roads in 8 years, all of that was nothing. No. Leader. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, it is important.
Honorable Eric Edem Abena, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I would humbly plead with the minority leader to kindly allow me to continue. Mr. Speaker, the previous government made several claims about road infrastructure and the road networks that they constructed. But at the vetting yesterday, it was revealed that less than 700 kilometers of roads were actually constructed. And I think it is important for us to place these matters on record. I am confident that the Honorable Minister Designate, who was a very active ranking member on the sector in the previous parliament, will be able to discharge his duties very well and ensure that all the road infrastructure that we promised the good people of Ghana, President Mohammed's government will see to these roads being constructed, especially the road from Denu to Ho, which also passes through my constituency and also passes through the constituency of the minister designate. I would want to plead with him to make that road a top priority in his ambitions for the sector. The second nominee happens to be the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, who has been a mentor and a big brother since his days as a student leader. He was National Youth Organizer of the NDC, and since he's coming into this August House, we can all bear testimony to the fact that he is an excellent legislator, and all the time that he has held ministerial positions, we have seen how he discharges his duties effectively. I am confident that under his leadership as Minister for Education, the sector will see some real growth and improvement. Mr. Speaker, currently, the education sector is one of the most challenged in this country. As we speak today, one of the things that is of great concern to me as a young person and as the MP for a constituency that can be described as a rural constituency is the fact that there exists a huge gap between rural education and education in the urban centers. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to a day where children schooling in Begbekope Junior High School can make the same grades as children schooling in public schools here in Accra. I look forward to Honorable Haruna Idrisu leading the ministry to bridge that gap, especially, Mr. Speaker, learning that since 1992, he is the first Minister for Education from the northern sector. I believe that should serve as a motivation for us to do our best to bridge that gap. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, in my concluding remarks, with regards to the Minister Designate for Agriculture, we all know the Honorable Eric Opoku. He has become not only an authority, but an institution on issues of agriculture. And he displayed that yesterday before the Appointments Committee. I believe that the agriculture sector will see some steady growth under his leadership. Mr. Speaker, the three nominees, I believe, constitute what we can properly describe as a solid team to move this country forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Let him now turn to Honorable Reverend Intim Fojo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the motion that this House adopts the second report of the Appointments Committee. And in so doing, to congratulate all the nominees. I have every confidence in their ability to deliver, and they can rest assured on our support. In respect of the nominee for the Agric Ministry, it is our expectation that he will keep true to his commitment, that all the brilliant initiatives that he enumerated to the committee will actually translate to the reduction in food inflation. We are also expecting to see how he is going to not renege on his advocacy when he was very vociferous on the other side of the aisle when he was the ranking for Agric Committee on the promise that if they were in power, they would have offered the cocoa farmer 6,000 cedis per bag instead of the 3,100 cedis per bag that our previous government offered our farmers. I wish him well in his endeavors. In respect of Honorable Kwame Abuja, he articulated a lot of competence and demonstrated his knowledge and experience in the built environment, and we're hopeful that he will translate those experiences into the new portfolio that he's been appointed to. However, his commitment that even though their government is going to initiate new projects, they will remain true to the continuation of the massive road infrastructure and the road construction projects initiated by President Akufo-Addo. We are going to watch closely to see that we are not going to see a cancellation of projects, we are not going to see suspension of road projects, and that those massive roads, which all of us across the length and breadth of this country pass on, will be continued to improve our infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, in respect of Honorable Haruna Idrisu, it is my expectation that he will leverage on his expertise and the mark that he made when he previously served as Minister for Communications, even at age 39, subsequently also to the Ministry of Trade and Industry and Employment and Labor Relations, to navigate around the complexities of education ministry. I have every confidence in his ability to succeed. But on page 20 of the report, Mr. Speaker, for the first time, we see the nominee acknowledging the monumental policy and the vision of President Akufo-Addo, and noting that free SHS is one of the boldest steps in transforming education. Mr. Speaker, and I read, the nominee acknowledged that free SHS remains one of the boldest steps in transforming education in this country. I'm very excited that we have come to a point where free SHS that is touted as a visionary policy that ensures that a child of a watchman in a big corporation gets the opportunity to sit in the same classroom with a daughter of the CEO, and both have an opportunity for a brighter way of contributing to socio-economic pursuits. But on page 21, when the nominee was asked about his position on curriculum and pedagogy reform, he assured that at all levels of our education system, curriculum and pedagogy will be reformed to meet the aspirations of this country. But, Mr. Speaker, let me be quick to draw the attention of the table office to correct an error on page 21, paragraph 5.4. The spelling of pedagogy is not as has been captured. It actually ends with Y, not UE. Pedagogy does not end with UE. It ends with Y. And having noted that correction, we hope to see how Honorable Haruna Idrisu will come to sustain the gains we have made in education outcomes, to continue the sterling legacies left by Honorable Dr. Yauser Duchum and Honorable Matthew Poku Prempeh, to ensure we do not go back to the era where in 2015 only 2% of our peoples in this country had the ability to read, but rather we will improve from the 38% as of 2022, the outcome of the National Standardized Test, to a point where minimum 90% of our learners will be able to read. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I thank you too. So it is now the turn of Honorable Lydia Lamisi Akanvaliba. But Lydia, hold on. Give me 5 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much for indulging me. Minority leadership, the front bench. Very well, Lydia. You may go on now.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the motion on the floor of this House, that this House should approve the 3 nominees by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. First of all, we want to thank the President for giving us people with the needed capabilities to take care of the various ministries that they have been appointed to. Starting with my brother, Honorable Kwame Abuja. With his wide range of experience in project management, infrastructure development, I believe that he is good for the job that he has been appointed to do. My only challenge in that sector is the debt of 1.5 billion Ghana cedis awaiting him. But I know that with collaboration with the Minister for Finance, he will be able to scale through to make sure that our roads are worked on. I know that the road from Bolaga to Plumakom is under construction. It has been there for the past 8 years. We were told that they have to readjust the contract. The contract has been readjusted, but the road has not been worked on. Traveling from Bolaga to my constituency would have taken me just 1 hour, but today I need about 2 hours, even more, to get to Timpani constituency. And I believe that with his experience, he's going to do a good job and complete that route for us. It will be difficult for me to talk about my senior brother, Honorable Haruna Druso. It is normal for a woman to say that my mentor is a woman, but for me, my mentor is a man. He acts as a mentor. I like his humility, with the fact that yesterday he was able to mention that he started his education from Kulikuli School. Those from the northern will understand what Kulikuli means. Kulikuli is a food made from granules. From that humble beginning, he has gotten to this level. It is just to tell us, especially the youth, that you can start from anywhere and even get to the place you want to be. Once you are determined, once you want to be where you want to be. The first time I met him was 2021 at Maros Hotel, when he told us on the 5th of January that a tortoise will ride an elephant. And we saw that happen. So I know that at the back of his mind, he can do things much more than we understand that he can do. And I believe that when we give him the nod this evening, he's going to move the educational ministry to a different level. He started politics not today, even from his school days. He became a news president, became the national youth organizer for the party. He has handled so many ministries with a wide range of experience, and that makes it no doubt that Honorable Haruna can do a good job. And this country will see an improvement in our educational infrastructure, the learning and teaching materials, even to a fact that he himself understands what education is. I know that by the end of the 4 years, Ghana Education Service or Ghana, the Minister of Education, will be a different matter as we speak today. Right Honorable Speaker, I can't end without mentioning Honorable Eriko Poku. Yesterday, I like the way he answered the question. What is he going to do about marginal people in land acquisition? I believe that in the rural constituency like mine, women have challenges in getting land to farm. What they usually do is that when they give the land to the men, a small place under the tree, then they'll say the woman should go and farm her onions, her pepper, or her tomatoes. Right, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say that the people that has been appointed to this ministry, the President has done a good job, and I urge this House to this evening approve them. Haruna Adrusu will say approve. We approve them.
Thank you very much, Teresa. It is now the turn of Honorable Fred Asamoah Echei. Yes, Honorable. Doc.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I hope you are titled Doc, eh? Dr. Fred Asamoah Echei.
Yes, please.
Yes, let's hear you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the second report for the appointment of the Minister Designate for Education, Roads and Highways, and the Minister Designate for Food and Agriculture. Yes, I would like to start with the Minister for Roads and Highways. And I know the Honorable Minister Abuja is a respectable architect, and I enjoyed his interview. Honorable Minister Designate for Roads and Highways made a statement that it's cheaper to construct asphalt roads as compared to concrete roads. And it's definitely true, because it costs about twice the amount of funds that one needs to construct an asphalted road as compared to concrete roads. But that is for the initial cost. But for the long-term cost, it's cheaper for one to construct the concrete roads because of its durability and longevity. So if the opportunity comes, I want to encourage that we do more of concrete roads since the long-term wise is going to be cheaper. Then he also committed to completing ongoing roads projects. And I believe that the one in my constituency, Offenso North, specifically Afranchua, Kumadine, and Kinkenso, and Kobreso will be completed. Then, of course, I want to move to the Honorable Minister Designate for Education. I have no doubt the Honorable Haruna has the capacity and the ability to deliver under the Ministry of Education. But on page 23, since this house is a house of records, the report is not too clear, and I read, he attributed the previous government's inability to achieve the initiative to expand TVET to 20 or 30. These are nominal figures, and I don't know what kind of description one will give to these figures. But I want to put on record that since independence, the just outgone government is one that has increased infrastructure as far as TVET is concerned, and so much investment has been contributed to TVET in this country. And we have been able to quadruple enrollment in the TVET sector, and it has to be acknowledged as that. And we cannot attribute the fact that we were not able to achieve our initiative to expand TVET to just capping GET fund. And of course, everybody knows that the workplace requires that you have about 80% of TVET skills. But if you look at the whole report for the Minister Designate for Education, not much has been attributed to technical and vocational education. And we all believe that one will have to put his money where its mouth is. And I would have expected that at least, if not half of the report under education is committed to TVET, at least a quarter should have done the job. So that should be noted. Notwithstanding, I believe the Honorable Minister Designate, Honorable Haruna, has the capacity to be able to do well under the Ministry of Education. And I also believe that he has a soft spot for technical and vocational education. And as such, more funds will be allocated for technical and vocational education, because that's the surest way one can provide and produce the jobs that our youthful nation needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Asamoah. Let's now turn to Honorable Zuara Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the motion being considered on the floor. Mr. Speaker, we are looking at approving the Appointments Committee report on 3 nominees to 3 respectable ministries of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, my first comment is in respect of the Honorable Kwame Agoja, Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Agoja presented himself at the vetting yesterday. We all followed his performance, and Mr. Speaker, I can assure you that Mr. Agoja acquitted himself very well on the portfolio that he's assuming. Mr. Speaker, there is no gainsaying the fact that the road network in this country is one that we cannot write anything about. Everywhere, including in the inner and capital cities of Ghana, we find roads riddled with potholes, roads without lights, roads without shoulder facilities for transport vehicles to stop, roads without a lot of unnecessary speed ramps on highways with speed ramps. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kwame Agoja gave insights into how he's hoping to help His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama to address the debilitating road situation of this country. We all identify with him, and we are praying by the grace of Allah, he will be able to discharge his mandate as he has so far promised to the people of this country. In saying this, Mr. Speaker, I want to remind Honorable Kwame Agoja, Minister Designate for Roads and Highways, that on 5th October 2024, I had the singular honor of traveling with now President John Dramani Mahama to some parts of my constituency in the Klo Abromasi area. His Excellency the President saw it for himself, and indeed he lamented and lamented and lamented the nature of the road. He made a promise to the chiefs and people of Klo that when he wins, and Mr. Speaker, he didn't say if he wins. He said, when I win and I become president of this country, my first priority is to see to working on these roads. I want to share this information with Mr. Agoja even before he sits in his office, that I'm going to come there and remind him about the promise the president made to the people of Klo. Spoke about the Abromasi Road, the Kulpi Road, Pandai, Salaga Pandai Road, Salaga Bimbila Road, Tamale to Salaga Road, Makango Road, Bunkwa Road, and Sarkingona roads. And Mr. Speaker, there's a very interesting development, and I thought I heard one of my colleagues allude to that. And I say this with particular reference to my constituency, where the just outgone government stopped a road contract that President Mahama had awarded in 2016, and for political expediency, terminated the contract on 20th August 2020. And as we speak, Mr. Speaker, the contract is at the same stage where it was terminated in 2020. That behavior is not acceptable. And we know that Honorable Kwame Agbodza, a very enlightened politician, is not going to go on that route. Mr. Speaker, the second nominee,
And you should begin to wind up.
the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, the Honorable Leader, annexing the education portfolio. He gave us assurances at his vetting yesterday that he was going to work very hard to use education to bridge the gap of poverty and vulnerability. All of us know the damage that poverty does to a nation, where people are exploited because they are vulnerable due to the lack of education. We are hopeful that, having experienced Honorable Haruna Idrisu's leadership, we feel very confident that he's going to be able to discharge in this portfolio. Mr. Speaker, before I sit down,
Thank you.
Honorable Haruna Idrisu, I'm sure, will take steps to feed us with the right information
Thank
regarding
you.
his sector
Thank you.
and correct the misinformation.
Thank you so much. It is now the turn of Honorable Yindam.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to also congratulate the three nominees who has been given the opportunity to serve in this ministry. Honorable Kwame Agbodza, Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Minister Designate for Education. Honorable Eric Opoku, Minister Designate for Food and Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, these are colleagues that I have worked with, especially Honorable Haruna Idrisu, as the majority leader and the minority leader. I know him very well. I don't doubt his ability to perform. I know very well that he will come out with policies that will bring some kind of relief to our educational sector, if any. Mr. Speaker, I want to take you to paragraph 5.12. And it has to do with, Mr. Speaker, a question posed to him about the licentiate exams. Mr. Speaker, teaching is a very noble profession. And it's not for nothing that the former government has introduced this policy to differentiate between a professional teacher and non-professional teacher. But when a question was asked about his position, he stated clearly that they were going to look at the system, but eventually they think that that policy should not be maintained. I have a different view, because in this country, almost all professions are practicing with licenses. So if you decide to abolish the teacher licentiate exams, what will differentiate a professional teacher from a quack teacher? It is so important, Mr. Speaker. We should not just say that because we've gone out there to promise the people that when we get opportunity, we are going to abolish the licentiate exams. Mr. Speaker, it's for a good reason. I'm not very sure that teachers will be happy that you just box them and there's no difference between a professional teacher and non-professional teacher. It's not a good thing. And I want to urge the minister to look at it very well. That policy is a very good policy. Mr. Speaker, let me talk about Honorable Kwame Agboja, the road minister. He also came out with some policies, especially where he said they are going to introduce the road tolls and they were going to employ the PWCs. Good idea. But Mr. Speaker, I will urge them that these PWCs that they are talking about, we will also follow closely to see the kind of employment they are going to give to these vulnerable individuals. It's a very important point. Now, Mr. Speaker, let me congratulate my brother Eric Opoku. But there's one thing I have realized, that when the finance minister was questioned about a proposal they have made to the cocoa farmers, clearly on this floor, they promised them that if they get opportunity, they were going to increase from 3,100 to 6,000. When the Minister of Finance was asked, he invaded that question. The same way when my good friend Eric Opoku was also asked, he also invaded that question. I don't know if they can be bold enough to tell the cocoa farmers that they've deceived them. Because it was clear that you promised them that when you get opportunity, you were going to move from 3,100 to 6,000. What is it that is holding you? My brother Mama Ayerga just told us how you have started fulfilling your promises. We expect you to fulfill this particular promise. Else, just be bold enough and let the cocoa farmers know that, unfortunately, you have come for their votes, but unfortunately, you are not able to give them what you have told them. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge this House to approve these nominees and give them the opportunity to come out with their policies. We, from this side, like we rightly said, we are prepared to support you. Come out with the best, and we'll support you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. I am going to take my last batch of contributors, but there's no way I can overlook my own uncle.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for indulging me. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to add my voice to the debate to approve or adopt the second report of the Appointments Committee on His Excellency President Mahamad's nominations for appointment as ministers. Mr. Speaker, we have before us 3 of our colleagues who have been nominated by President Mahama. And these colleagues, first and foremost, qualify to be ministers of state by virtue of the fact that they are members of parliament. That's what the Constitution requires of ministers of state. I'll begin with Honorable Agboja. This country is looking for very credible persons to lead ministries in order that they will perform for the benefit of Ghana. And Kwame Agboja, having observed him in this house as a backbencher, rising to become the minority chief whip, has distinguished himself creditably. And I believe it is as a result of his performance that he courts the admiration of President Mahama and therefore nominated him as the Minister for Roads and Highways. I have a very firm conviction that Kwame Agboja will perform in this sector. Under his administration, members will be happy. Members from both sides will see massive road improvement in your constituencies. This is a very hard-working member of the House, and he has Parliament at heart. And having worked as a whip, who was responsible for the welfare of members of Parliament, carrying this sentiment into the ministry, certainly members will benefit from his appointment. Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Mr. Speaker, a distinguished member of the House, affectionately called by some members leader, and some approved. Is a very hard-working young man. Mr. Speaker, this young man worked to me in the year 2004 in my house when NDC had lost elections. Then a very young person came and disclosed to me his intentions to contest the Tamale South constituency to become a member of Parliament. I had a pickup, I remember, and he requested for my pickup to travel to Tamale to announce to his constituency's intention to contest the elections in 2004. I could see victory in his face, and he is full of wisdom, knowledge, and very hard working. So I supported him to go. I am happy today. I feel so fulfilled that today, at this age in Parliament, I have somebody that I supported to rise, becoming the Minister for Education. I have no doubt in my mind that Honorable Haruna Idrisu will perform. Under him, we will see improvement in the quality of education in Ghana, and also massive improvement in educational infrastructure in the country. I wish him well. For Honorable Eric Opoku, for those of you who don't know, I taught him in the secondary school. And I have my senior high school.
You taught him as people teacher?
As a teacher. And I have my secondary technical school then. And when he completed university, I was the chairman of the NDC in the Brown Half region. And he disclosed to me his intention to contest elections. I supported him to contest the Sunafo South constituency. And by the grace of Allah, he won that elections, came to Parliament, lived with me for 1 year in my house. And at the time, I used to go on radio for radio programs, television programs, and he would carry my books, my references. He has learned. And today, if you watch Honorable Eric Opoku, if you listen to Honorable Eric Opoku espousing on agriculture, you will fall in love with this young man. He's a very good debater. He had debated very well on this floor to the admiration of many people, including Honorable Afenyo Markins, who describes him as a very knowledgeable person and very meticulous when it comes to facts. I'm happy you have said it is true. I have no doubt in my mind that those of us who are cocoa farmers, in addition to our political career, will benefit a lot from his knowledge and his performance. I wish to call on all members to support
Thank you.
the adoption of this report in order that these young men will start work today. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Now we will take Honorable Asenso Boache. Comfort, I'll give you 2 minutes, but let me listen to Honorable Asenso Boache, the immediate past Minister for Roads and Highways. Yes, Honorable,
Thank
you have
you very
the floor,
much.
but you work around 5 minutes for us.
Honorable Speaker, I rise in support of the approval of the 3 nominees before us, most especially the Honorable Nominee, Ministerial Nominee for Roads and Highways, Honorable Kwame Abuja. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kwame Abuja and I have known each other for many years. In fact, we were contemporaries at the University of Science and Technology. While he studied architecture, I studied urban planning and development at the same faculty of architecture and planning. And we also stayed in the same hall of residence, Independence Hall of KNUST. In fact, when he was the vice chair of the JCR of Independence Hall, I was also the faculty student president of the Faculty of Planning and Architecture. So I've known him quite well. And since he took the leadership position in politics, he has been a foremost spokesperson for the then opposition in the infrastructure space. I believe that he's competent for the job, first of all, because he's a development professional and he brings a lot of expertise to his work. He's also been involved in construction management, which means that he has an experience in construction, which is the major aspect of road development in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I was not in the country, so I didn't have the chance to participate in his vetting. But he made some important points that I agreed with him. First of all, regarding the uncapping of the road fund. It's important that the funds that we get for road funds is ring-fenced and be given to the Ministry of Roads and Highways to especially undertake the primary assignment it's supposed to do, that is road maintenance. So I agree with him on that. He also said that he will continue with ongoing projects. That is very important, and I commend him for that. And I think it's important that you put on record that the MPP administration also continued all ongoing road projects when it assumed office. He said that he will make sure that he will only implement projects that are budgeted for. Mr. Speaker, that is ideal. That is what's supposed to be done. And I wish him well on that. In fact, I wish him good luck on that. But he is coming into the space as an opposition MP, not that experienced enough in terms of ministerial responsibility, unlike the case of Honorable Haruna Idrisu and Honorable Eric Opoku. And he will realize that when you're on the seat, it's a completely different ballgame. So I wish him well, but if he's able to do that, it will help. He also talked about electronic tolling. It's one area that I want to talk about in the next phase. That's the areas that I do not agree with Honorable Kwame Abuja during his vetting hearing. One, Honorable Abuja engaged himself in what I will call political optimism misrepresentation of facts regarding the number of roads that the Akufo-Addo administration constructed during its 8 years of service. In fact, Honorable Abuja is someone who has been passionate about criticizing the past administration regarding the number of roads that the Akufo-Addo administration constructed. Let me put on record, Honorable Speaker, that as at the end of December, per what is stated in the transition report, the Akufo-Addo government had constructed 13,624 kilometers of road, as against 4,630 kilometers of road by the previous government in 8 years. But during the vetting, Honorable Abuja just picked one component of the road construction, which is the construction of new roads, which is 673 kilometers, construction of new roads, to represent the total number of roads that the Akufo-Addo administration had constructed. And I thought this is misleading representation of facts, and it did not help in having accurate and good debate on the floor. Mr. Speaker, out of the 13,624 roads constructed under the Akufo-Addo administration, asphalt overlay alone is 1,955 kilometers. You can all bear witness to asphalt overlay projects that went on in the country, in Accra, in Kumasi, in Sunyani, in Takrade. Those are not new roads. Those are already existing roads that we put asphalt overlay to improve riding quality. We also constructed 35 bridges across the country. It's also part of the Akufo-Addo record of 13,624. Graveling and regraveling alone was about over 6,000 kilometers. Many of us are MPs from rural communities, and we know the importance of graveling in connecting people and bringing people together in these rural communities. So those are very important part of the road construction projects that were done under Nana Akufo-Addo administration. Mr. Speaker, reconstruction and upgrading of roads constituted 1,665 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, today, if you are reporting on construction of new roads, you will not talk about reconstruction and upgrading. Let me give you one example. Currently, the past government initiated the construction of Fanko in Sawam Road. That's about over 20 kilometers of road. That is an existing road, but it will not be, it's classified under upgrading and rehabilitation. So it will not be counted under new roads, but it's a major construction project with major funding. Today, there's Tema motorway reconstruction and upgrading. That is going to provide a facelift regarding the transportation network between the harbor city and the capital city. This will not be classified under new rules, but it's a major construction project that we know. And Honorable Abuja is somebody who is very experienced in this, he's a technical person, and he knows this. So I was very disappointed when he used just new rules to represent the total number of roads constructed under Nana Akufo-Addo.
Honorable Minister, I think you will have the opportunity to give us a lot of information regarding to the ministry. So, but for now, I think you've given us enough.
Yeah, so, but it was important that I put that.
No, that is why I've indulged him. I mean, all of the people who have contributed, I gave them 5 minutes, but because I was interested in the information,
But, Honorable Speaker, this notwithstanding, I believe that Honorable Abuja is competent and has the capacity to manage the very important Ministry of Roads and Highways. And I recommend that he's approved so that he can go and deliver and produce results. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Honorable Asenso Boache. I'll give you 2 minutes. Honorable Comfordoyo, 2 minutes. Honorable Comfordoyo, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the motion moved by the Appointment Committee Chairman, the First Deputy Speaker, to Mr. Speaker, to approve the nominees appointed by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to Honorable Kwame Agboja, that's my immediate boss. He has done all that he needed in this chamber, and that qualifies him more than what we are thinking to occupy that position. When it comes to Haruna Idrisu, that one there is very marvelous. And I know he's going to deliver to the satisfaction of Ghanaians. And when it comes to Eric Opoku, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the lineup, then you realize that we really have the men. If you look at the lineup, the first lineup of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, then you can know where the research is going to start from, because these are the men that have been in this chamber for years. And being in this chamber for just 1 year is even more than enough. Because this is where from archaeology to zoology passes through. And they have learned a lot from here, apart from what they were taught in school. And that qualifies them to go and work in those ministries. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is not in a hurry. He is not in a hurry at all to crash this nation, because 21st February 2017, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo came to this chamber and told us how he's in a hurry, and he ended up crashing the whole nation. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo didn't start his free SHS immediately. Mr. Speaker, we didn't interrupt anybody. We didn't interrupt anybody when they were speaking.
Okay. Honorable, I'll give you the opportunity, so let me finish.
Mr. Speaker, His Excellency former President Nana Akufo-Addo didn't start the free SHS in January. He started the free SHS in September 2017. So therefore, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in January cannot give any approval whilst his ministers have not been approved, because budget is yet to be presented in this chamber, and ministers are yet to take position. Mr. Speaker, if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama cannot refer a letter to a cabinet session of his Flagstaff House, how can he refer to students who are yet to even resume. Some of them are yet to resume. And he has not even taken full charge. He's yet to take full charge. How can we say he should go and then speak about those who are now entering the university? He has promised and he will fulfill the promise. With Haruna Idrisu in the seat, we know he is going to deliver when it comes to education. They are going to restructure the free SHS and make it attractive for every Ghanaian student to attend. Mr. Speaker, as Honorable Corinne Dada said, he mentored him. I love people who mentored people. And today, he has reached where he is. His first constituency was Gupegu Sabonjida. He did everything he could as a young man, and he has reached this level. Mr. Speaker, I know he's going to deliver. Honorable Kwame Agboja is going to fulfill the promise of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Contracts that were abrogated during 2017, all contractors will be moved to site to go and complete those jobs that were left for the good 8 years. From Kase to Adam for good 8 years. Contractor was being investigated, so now it's still the same. And nobody has touched that road. Mr. Speaker, we have not seen a bitumen for the old 8 years in Ada. And the cocoa rows that were abrogated that affected the farmers, and they couldn't bring their farm product from the farms to the market, and that has escalated the prices of the farm product. My brother Agboja is going to work on them, and we will see the massive improvements in this government. Mr. Speaker, please let me speak about Eric Opoku, because he is going to perform the magic when it comes to agriculture. So, Mr. Speaker, we have the men, and they are going to deliver, and they are going to make sure we move Ghana to the next level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Honorable Ahmed, will say something.
Mr. Speaker, I thought that the language that was used by my sister, that Nana Akufo-Addo had crushed the nation, was too high. And I didn't want him to continue on that tangent. Let us be decorous and use a decent language. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senior Member. Yes.
Speaker, I rise certainly to speak in support of the motion. And let me start off by saying that all three nominees performed fairly well. I listened to them in detail. Honorable Kwame Agboja, my good friend. And Speaker, let me not belabor the point. The former sector minister has dealt with a number of inaccuracies that were put out. And so I wouldn't spend too much time on that. Speaker, the three of them sounded very ambitious, which is very good. We, on this side of the House, will be watching. We will be watching. If indeed a review of the free SHS is not cancellation, time will prove. If a review of the free SHS is not cancellation, time will tell. There is a huge expectation out there. And you have said that all the good works of the new patriotic party led by His Excellency Akufo-Addo will crush the nation. We hear you. We are just wishing you well. Speaker, in broader context, Kwame Agboja, who has displayed a lot of professional competence in the area of architecture, tried to answer most of the questions. However, a matter on the 10 billion infrastructure fund, a fund that you are promising $10 billion to support infrastructure. And mind you, infrastructure goes beyond roads, all manner of infrastructure. And you are the same people who are saying that you are going to reduce taxes. And you are the same people who are going to say that cost of living is going to go down. And you are the same people saying that the cost of kenke is going to go down. And the size of kenke will increase. Speaker, last week I was at Osu, a very popular joint where they sell good kenke. I went there to ask for the price of kenke. What time do you want me to ask it? Speaker, and the price of kenke is actually going up. The ex-pump price of petrol and diesel is also going up. Well, we'll give you time. We'll give you time to form your government, and I know time will reveal your true colors. Time, it will reveal your true colors. Indeed, what you should be doing, the Honorable Agboja, what the Honorable Agboja should be doing is how he will get the balancing right. You have access to $10 billion. And you are saying that all the roads we started, you are going to complete them. And you are even going to add more to the roads we constructed. Is that not the case? We'll be watching. Now, you know that in this fourth Republican Constitution, under this fourth Republican Constitution, it is only the MPP, the New Patriotic Party government, that has implemented the free SHS successfully. MPP. Under the fourth Republican Constitution, it is the New Patriotic Party that has successfully implemented the free SHS. True or false? True or false? We know your review certainly means cancellation. Your review certainly means cancellation. We will just be watching. If indeed so, if there is any group of people in this country who you need to take a cue from, it is Dr. Educhum and the MPP. Dr. Educhum and the MPP. I will rather advise you that you should humble yourself, seek understanding how we did it, and I'm sure that if you do that, you will be able to chalk some success. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Eric Opoku, usual of him, also showed dexterity and understanding of the industry, and that you cannot take away from the Honorable Eric Opoku. But, Speaker, they are talking big. Our colleagues are talking very big. The Honorable Opoku says he is going to ensure that agribusiness takes a good height. He's going to ensure that cocoa farmers are paid well. He's going to ensure that they are not just going to be paid well, we are also going to increase productivity. And he's also going to ensure that they stop the cocoa smuggling. It is possible. Well, the current global narrative when it comes to agriculture, three things very critical: smart agriculture, sustainability, and storage. I have scanned through your manifesto. Conspicuously missing is something on storage. There is no mention of storage. So how are you going to increase productivity and also ensure bumper harvest and availability of food? Not too long ago, the former Minister for Agric, he worked so hard that we have bumper harvest and we had a lot of food stuff in Agric. Yes. We had a lot of food stuff in Accra.
Yes, why?
There were a lot of... Speaker, during the bumper harvest, I traveled from Insawam to Accra to get some plantain for domestic use. Then I saw a number of my colleagues on this side with their cars parked, waiting to buy plantain and other food stuff. And today they are saying that they will not recognize the good work of the New Patriotic Party. I only pray and wish you well. I'm only praying and wishing you well. The Honorable Kwame Agboja, who is promising to do all the roads, I hope our approach will not be partisan. It is not going to be partisan. We are going to put on the cap of patriotism, look at the road needs of our country, especially in the hinter areas where foodstuffs are produced. We want to see more asphalt roads, not just in Accra, in other parts of the country where roads are linking production centers for agriculture. Speaker, the linkage between roads and food supply and reduction in the cost of food is so clear. It's so clear. And we are only bidding our time. Climate change, which has become a very topical matter, is haunting us. Dr. Rikopoku, with all his knowledge, could not situate the concerns about climate change and what solutions the NDC is going to profess in dealing with this matter, reducing the sustainability of food productivity, and also ensure that there is abundance of food. If for nothing at all, at the Greek sector, under the New Patriotic Party, we had a lot of food. A lot of them were made available at the ministry, and people were traveling all over the country to come to the ministry and buy food. They traveled from all over the place, came to the ministry to buy food stuff. Please. Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking in support of the motion, but these are important lessons that we want to nudge and draw our colleagues' attention to. Please, you have 4 years to perform. You have just 4 years to perform. I'm praying that Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Honorable Kwame Agboja, and Honorable Erikopoku will live up to the billing. When they succeed, the country succeeds. We pray that they will live up to the billing, they will deliver on the deliverables, and very soon the price of kenke will indeed come down. The size will be bigger. And also the size of kenke will increase. Mr. Speaker, with these words, I want to support the motion and to support the adoption of the report. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate,
Mr. Speaker, I have seen my respected colleague, the first Deputy Speaker and Chair of the Appointment Committee. I would hold on to what I would want to say. I will plead with you to hold on a moment. I would want to engage him privately, as is always the practice. Then, soon thereafter, if I have some comments I would make on this matter. Mr. Speaker, I would want you to indulge this. I want to engage him.
Leader, can you keep your discussion outside whilst we go on? Other than the house will be kept in abeyance.
Mr. Speaker, my humble suggestion is that looking at the numbers in the chamber, we do not have what it takes to carry the motion. That is why I wanted to have some engagement. But we've closed the debate. We are done with the debate. We would have to perhaps do some further engagement and know the direction we are going. But as it is, if you look at the numbers in the chamber, we don't have... So, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution is very clear on what it takes to take decisions. And I would want to strongly make the appeal to you that looking at the numbers in the chamber, we don't have what it takes to take a decision on the 3 nominees. So we now would have to put the issue of putting a question on ice so that we see to it that things are done right. Meanwhile, Mr. Speaker, I will engage the First Deputy Speaker in chair outside of the chamber so that we come back to have further discussion. Well, if you say no, honorable members, Mr. Speaker, I have pointed out the law to you. If my colleagues in the majority are of the view that in this chamber now, it is right to put the question, you can go ahead. But at least I've told Mr. Speaker what it is.
Leader, well noted. If you want to raise the column, then come appropriately. Then we move it
Mr.
from
Speaker, there are ways to solve a problem. I have spoken enough and I've drawn attention to this matter. There are ways to solve a problem. So I've drawn the attention.
So yes, Honorable Buama.
Mr. Speaker, I believe if you look around, we don't want a situation where a decision is taken and is challenged. It will not be in the interest of the House. Let a chair of the Appointments Committee who moved the motion and the ranking member confer. The rules permit you to even suspend the House so that the majority can do the needful. I beg of you. That is another way. Otherwise, there are decisions and constitutional provisions as to the number that can take a decision. And we know.
Honorable Member, I share your view, but what I'm saying is, then you invoke the right constitutional provision. If we have to ring the bell and see whether members are in their rooms, they can come. Other than that, then you go ahead and adjourn the House.
Mr. Speaker, that's why I'm begging of you to at least suspend the House for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. I'm sure we'll find a way around it.
Yes, Honorable Susu.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a matter of practice, I believe that when debates are over, what is required by our standing orders is that you put the question. When someone seeks to challenge the voice vote after you put the question, the person may call for division, the bell is rung, and we give ourselves time to have our members in here. Mr. Speaker, I think this practice of asking the House to suspend just because someone has done an observation and is of the view that we don't have the number, Mr. Speaker, I don't think that is borne out of the procedure of this House. So, Mr. Speaker, I respectfully pray that you put the question so we move forward.
Yeah. Honorable members. Honorable members. Yes. Honorable members, kindly indulge me to suspend the House for 15 minutes.
No, we are waiting. We are not going.
We have the numbers. It's not. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, the mood of the House, Mr. Speaker, is that the question be put. That's the mood of the House. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Dafiamapo.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dafiamapo, hold on. I was about to put the question, but I get the inclination that we didn't have the numbers. And honorable members, will you listen to me? I got the inclination that we didn't have the numbers. And well, honorable, Yes. Honorable member, hold on. We will.
Mr. Speaker, our duty is to assist you in ensuring the peace of this house. Have the commitment of the minority in this important endeavor. I did indicate that I was going to engage my respected colleague, the chair of the appointment committee. And thus far, the indication I have is assuring. I therefore have no hesitation in suggesting to the chair to proceed as had earlier been indicated. Thank you.
Honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, all those in favor that motion listed 13 in today's order paper be adopted, say aye. All those against, say no. Honorable members, it's obvious the ayes have it. The motion is hereby adopted. And that this Honorable House has adopted His Excellency the President's nomination of Honorable Kwame Govins Abuja as Minister Designate for Ministry of Roads and Highways. Honorable Haruna Idrisu as Minister Designate for Ministry of Education. And Honorable Eric Opoku as Minister Designate for Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Honorable members, on behalf of the House, I would like to extend a word of congratulations to our colleagues. I think the three nominees or minister designates are all members of the House. We believe they will make us proud in their ministry that they are going to head. Leadership. Leadership, any indication?
Mr. Speaker, we are in your hands because we have exhausted the day and we need to go and rest for tomorrow.
Yes. Honorable members, before we bring the curtains down, kindly allow me some space to express a word of gratitude to the leadership and to you, honorable members of the House, for unanimously and graciously accepting and endorsing my nomination to serve this honorable House once again as the second Deputy Speaker. I'm very thankful and very appreciative of the honor you have done me. Honorable members, let me pledge to this House, and by extension the whole nation, that I will be diligent, I will be unbiased, I will be impartial, I will be fair, and most especially, I will go by the rules of the House, for which rules we know are underpinned by the 1992 Constitution and our own standing orders. And I will do that in all my engagement as Deputy Speaker, most especially when I am presiding over the House. I thank you, and I thank the good people of Fomena who brought me here. And I thank my family who have supported me throughout my political journey. And I want to mention my wife's name, Mrs. Grace Osi Asensiama. For supporting me throughout my political journey. Honorable members, on that note, I would like to thank you once again for the honor you have done me. And out, the House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, 12 o'clock in the forenoon. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock in the forenoon. The House stands adjourned.
So the House stands adjourned until 12 o'clock in the forenoon of tomorrow. But of course, this was not before the House approved the second batch of ministerial nominees. This will be Haruna Idrisu going to the Education Ministry, Kwame Govins Agboja for the Roads and Highways Ministry, and Eric Opoku for the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. So as it stands now, the confirmation or approval of this second batch of ministerial nominees will only go to complement the approval of the first batch of three. First batch of three, which includes Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen heading to the Ministry for Finance, John Jinapo for the Energy Ministry, and you would have Dominic Ayene for the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice. And so today, the House has had two reports from the Appointments Committee, considered same and debated same, and at the end of the day, approved the reports of the Appointments Committee, two of them, each on three ministers each. Remember that the ministerial appointments up until today were done in batches of threes, and so the President's nominations to the House subsequently referred by the Speaker to the Appointments Committee. The nominees having gone through the vetting by the Appointments Committee, the Appointments Committee presenting its report to plenary, and the House considering, debating and approving same. Quite a busy day we've had from the vetting of Ahmed Ibrahim early in the morning. Ahmed Ibrahim heading to the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, and then of course subsequently the plenary or Parliament hearing the reports of the Appointments Committee, first on the first batch of ministerial nominees, Atuforsen, John Jinapo, Dominic Ayene, and then subsequently the second batch, which will include Haruna Idrisu, Kwame Govins Agboja, and Eric Opoku for the Agric Ministry. Samiri Afe is still here with me in the studio. I almost gave you a different position, but it's okay. We are in an era of appointments. Appointments and nominations.
My appointment is on the way.
Very well, very well. We wish you well. We know your competence.
Thank you.
We'll be there to support you. We'll be there to support you.
Thank you.
I mean, but it's been an interesting session today. I mean, moving from the appointments committee to the floor of the House. General thoughts, general observations. With even the approval, we saw how the vetting went, questions from either side of the House. And then we've seen the debate on the report of the appointments committee, although a unanimous one. So yeah, let me just hear your thoughts briefly on this.
It was expected that, you know, colleagues will approve the nomination of their own colleagues when it comes to this ministerial appointment. They did fantastic at the vetting. We all saw the performance of Dr. Dominic Ayeni, Dr. Keselato Forsen, Eric Opoku yesterday, Kwame Agboja yesterday, and the other, John Jinapo and the rest. And they were fantastic. And, you know, even their own colleagues applauded the kind of responses and the answers they gave to the questions, you know, that were posed to them. And so it was expected that the whole House or the plenary will agree to this appointment and also approve of it. What is left now is for the president to officially, you know, swear them in, and then they take over or take, you know, their positions as ministers of state of the Republic of Ghana. And they are all aware of the task ahead of them, you know, the expectation from Ghanaians and the ability to fulfill the many promises the NDC made to Ghanaians in the run-up to the December election in 2024. So they are aware of it, they know what is expected, they know the task ahead of them, and we wish them all the best, we wish them all the best.
Right.
We wish them all the best.
Right. So the latest on the matter is that after hours of extensive deliberations, both the majority and the minority caucuses of Parliament both have agreed or acknowledged that the 6 ministerial nominees, which 6 will include Ato Forsen to the Finance Ministry, John Jinapo to the Energy Ministry, and then you have Dominic Ayeni, Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice, and then you would also have Haruna Idrusu to Education Ministry, governs Kwame Abuja, Roads and Highways, and then Eric Opoku for Agri.
These are key. These are
exactly.
key,
very key. And then exactly, and it demonstrates the president's commitment to form his government, and of course to run same. I mean, to address pressing national issues, as he has said, giving us a promise to form his cabinet in 14 days. Today we've seen a subsequent list as announced by Parliament. And so basically about 18 more nominations to go for the ministerial portfolio. And that would, if I'm not mistaken, would have to do with deputy ministers. Yes, because clearly, I mean,
already the ministers and the regional ministers, we are doing 42.
Right.
So what is left is about 18.
18.
And the 18, I'm sure, will go to, you know, deputy ministers. As we mentioned earlier in the morning, it then means that there will be some ministries who will not have deputies at all, because looking at the number, looking at the main or the substantive ministers that you know President Mahama has appointed, you're looking at some ministries not having deputy ministers. But then, you know, he has the appointing authority. You know, he knows what is best for him.
I like how the law people say they appoint tall.
You know, and he's the one Ghanaians voted for him in the December election of 2024, and so. He knows the people, sets an agenda very well. And the appointments so far have been, you know, applauded by many Ghanaians. You know, many Ghanaians have welcomed the appointment President Mahama has made so far. And for the first 6, you know, to go through successfully, it means that the other ones which are going to come are also going to go through. Because when you look at the latest list, which was released today, the individuals in there are people you consider very competent because they spoke in the key sectors of the economy when they were in opposition or ranking members of the various
sector-specific speakers or ranking members.
Yes, and you could tell their competencies in what they were saying. Now, talking about issues is different from working on it or being the main driver behind it. Because in past, we've seen people who spoke about sectors and when they were given opportunity, you know, they didn't perform well. So we hope and expect that even though they were vocal in opposition, the same thing will enter or will go into the kind of execution they will put into their work when they are sworn in as ministers of state. And so Ghanaians will be looking out for these things. And as I mentioned the last time, President Mahama seems to be a president in a hurry to fulfill the promises he made to the Ghanaian people, you know, in the election of December. And so he's made a promise to set up his government, you know, latest by end of January. It looks like he's on course. He's on course to fulfill this promise to Ghanaians. And the 6 which have been approved by Parliament are key sectors of the Ghanaian economy And I can say again that I wish them all the best.
Very well, very well. The president, while at it, has not been nominating people to ministerial positions only. Some more appointments have come. One, quite an interesting one, of course, coming from our fray. That would be journalist and sports administrator, Dr. Randy Abbey, who's been appointed to act as CEO of Cocoa Board. We'll look at that and then we'll look at GRE as well. But let's start with Randy Abbey.
Interesting appointment. I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this coming. My thinking was that there were earlier speculation that Randy was going to go to the GNPC, you know, or any related institution when it comes to oil and gas. I didn't see Cocoa Board coming, you know, and from where he's coming from as a sports person, you are thinking that, oh, if he doesn't go to GNPC, maybe he'll go to any of the sports-related agencies, because as of now, I think he serves on the management committee of the Ghana Football Association, either the chairman or one of the members of the committee. Recently, the committee was reconstituted, and he, Randy Abbey, Stephen Appiah, and a few others are part of the management committee of the Black Stars. So you expect him to go to a sports-related, you know, agency, but coming to Cocoa Board, it came to many a surprise, you know. But Randy has proven over the years to be a very competent individual. You know, he's proving himself over the years, done a few other things. And this, for me personally, I'm not surprised he's given an appointment. I'm only surprised that he's going to a sector like Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board has a lot of challenges. The cocoa sector is challenged. When you listen to Eric Opoku's vetting yesterday, he outlined the challenges within the cocoa sector, which he says that there's low production.
It's actually a good number of time spent on the cocoa sector.
Yes, because the cocoa is a driver of Ghana's economy, and so
basically the cornerstone of Ghana's agriculture and the economic development.
And it's proven over the years to be, you know, the holder, if I put that, of the Ghanaian economy. And you see how successive government have been serious when it comes to issues of cocoa. And from the picture Mr. Eric Opoku painted yesterday, it looks like the cocoa sector is dark. We have a grim picture when it comes to the cocoa sector. He, as minister, I hope that he will change the fortunes of the cocoa sector and the Cocoa Board. And in time past, the Cocoa Board was under the Ministry of Finance, but under Dr. Akoto Efie, it was moved to the Agric Ministry, and so the Agric Ministry will have the supervising, or be the supervising ministry for Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board, as I mentioned, that is bedevil. You know, we at the last administration, we were told of how cocoa prices were raised for cocoa farmers, which was about 6,000 Ghana cedis for a bag. The opposition then, which is Eric Opoku and his people, said it was woefully inadequate. And so if they are given the nod, they will raise it higher. Yesterday, when he was asked a specific question on that, the answer he gave was a clever answer that when they go in there, or they take full administration of the ministry and the cocoa sector, they will know which figures to give as far as, you know, the pricing for the bag is concerned. And Randy Abbey's ambition is solid. I'm sure Dr. or Mr. Edu, who will be handing over to Randy Abbey, will give a better picture of how the cocoa sector looks at and what Randy Abbey will come and answer it.
We need to give credit to Larry Dogbe and his Herald newspaper. They actually reported on this as of Monday.
Oh, okay.
As of Monday, that
Randy was going to Cocoa Board.
And I think they've hit it spot on. But he will be taking over from Mr. Edu or Dr. Edu, Joseph Edu, at a point where Joseph Edu had told all of us about raising capital domestically and not going for a syndicated loan. So it will be interesting to know his approach to some of these things and how he's going to deal with it and all that. But for how much of a confidence booster is it for the president to put Dr. Randy Abbey at Cocoa Board and subsequently congratulate him on his appointment?
Well, he's very close to the president. No two ways about that. He's very close to the president. I remember some time back when there was this step war between Speaker Gbagwin and John Mahama, then times way back. He was considered as one of the kitchen cabinets of then, you know, President Mahama at that time. I mean, John chapter 1. Now we are dealing with John chapter 2. So he's still very close, very close. Remember when John Mahama was, I think, elected or sworn in, he resigned from Metro TV as I think the host of Good Morning Ghana or from Metro TV. You know. So people gave, or people were giving heads up that, oh, okay, he's resigning, means there's something big coming, and here we are. For you to giving Cocoa Board or to head Cocoa Board, one, the president should trust you. It's because it's a very sensitive position.
True.
You should have the trust of the president and the loyalty of the president to head such a sector. Secondly, you must be very competent to hold such a sector. Very, very competent, because cocoa is broad. You are dealing with cocoa farmers. You are dealing with galamsey, which has caused great devastation to cocoa farms, where we are told that cocoa farmers willingly sell their land, their cocoa farms, to galamseyers, you know, because they think that galamsey money is better than cocoa money.
Right.
You are dealing with, you know, the virus that spreads when it comes to the cocoa farm. Is it cocoa?
The swelling shoot.
The swelling shoot and the rest, you know. And then you are also going to deal with cocoa roads and cocoa projects. You remember the previous administration started the cocoa roads.
Yeah.
But then when the MPP administration took over, they decided to review these cocoa roads, and it was halted. Now there's a promise, or there's a possibility that this administration may go back to the cocoa project or the cocoa roads. And Dr. Randiabe, leading that sector, will have a significant role to play as far as these projects, the cocoa roads, the cocoa everything that really counted. So for the president to appoint you to this particular position is big. It's big. Competence, loyalty. You know, it means the president really, you have the trust of the president to deliver in such an area which really is big as far as the Ghanaian economy is concerned.
As for the trust, I mean, there's no mention words here.
Of
for
course,
you,
of
one
course.
individual to be linked to GMPC and subsequently appointed to Cocoa Board,
yeah.
it should tell the level of confidence or trust the president reposes in you. Let's look at the next appointment. That will be Anthony Sapon.
Yeah.
He is a senior partner at the auditing firm KPMG, and his appointment takes effect. You remember Julie Esiam? She was appointed by the former president not too long ago.
I think it was 2024, some few months the election to take over from Reverend Ami Shaddai.
Yes.
You know, as boss of GRA. And then she also came in and did some few months, and then the administration took over. For Anthony Sapon, I don't know much about him, but all we know that he's with KPMG. We know the integrity and the reputation of KPMG. Whenever we have issues of auditing, the go-to institution is always KPMG. Because I remember when there was issue with this particular company. It was in the news recently about the lifting of oil and the arrangement when it comes to the president then Nana Akufo-Addo appointed KPMG to run audits as far as the operations is concerned. So it's become the go-to institution when it comes to auditing, in all aspects as far as, the economy is concerned. So for Anthony Sapon to be appointed to go in there, it's a good plus. It's something good for the country. And GRA basically is supposed to help government meet up its revenue targets.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's aside Cocoa Board, another institution that is very much important is GRA, because you always hear GRA say, "Oh, we didn't meet our target, or we over met our targets," and the like. So the main aim or the main objective going in there is to help government generate enough revenue. And this administration needs enough revenue
clearly
to fulfill the many promises they made to Ghanaians. So bringing a person within that establishment, to lead the pack is a good appointment. I don't know much about him, but then from the stories I've heard about him, he's a go-getter, he's a team player, and he will make sure that the job that is assigned to him is well delivered and well done.
Well, he is taking over at a point where the government is scrapping a number of taxes. Betting tax, e-levy,
COVID,
emissions levy, COVID levy. And so it will be interesting to see how he also runs. We know that the previous administration had on-foot operations and all that. Yeah. And it will also be interesting to see how he ropes in the informal sector.
GRAs, I've always said that they want to expand the tax net. But I've heard successive governments always saying expanding the tax net. I want to know how wide the net is, that it can't really reach everybody, because all the time they want to expand. All the time they want to expand, because when you look at the payment of taxes, it looks like it's the same people who are taxed over and over again. The informal sector is hardly taxed. You know, the watches seller, the check seller, you know, the shoemaker and all those people, a little taxes from them.
But when you go around, you see these minis, the small tax stamps on their sieves and their stalls and all, but not all of them.
Not all of them, though.
Yes.
Not all of them. Normally, it's driven by the assemblies.
The assemblies.
It's the assemblies who do this, and I'm told that the assemblies also have their cuts, you know, when they do these things. So for all the junk amount don't go to central government, the assemblies will also take their portion of it. So it's only a little that goes to the central government as far as revenue mobilization is concerned. But if you want to widen it, you know, there's always the appeal or the proposal that in order to, no one likes to pay taxes. Nobody wants to pay taxes, but they want development. But in a way for people to pay taxes that they do not know that they are paying taxes is to do the indirect taxing. The person is paying the tax, but the person does not really know that they are paying the tax.
And that is mostly through the consumer taxes.
You know, and when that happens, goods and services will rise as far as the prices are concerned. Now, this administration that wants to mitigate the plight of Ghanaians, reduce the cost of living. You do not wish to increase new taxes, as Dr. Ato Forsen said.
Yes.
But then you want to widen the taxes. How do you do that? That's why I wasn't really excited when committee members did not probe further on how they intend to widen the tax net. You know, because if you want to do so and it's not going to be direct tax, how do you do that? You know, it's through the indirect tax.
You want to increase revenue without introducing new taxes while you are scrapping existing taxes. And so how do you generate the revenue?
E-levy, the betting tax and the rent generate close to 6.4 billion
yearly.
Cedis yearly. And 6.4 billion is huge money. Yeah. It's very huge.
Every government needs that.
Every Ghanaian. And the Ghanaian has come to believe or has come to understand e-levy. There were protests, but people still are paying.
Because, well, people were still using the services.
You have no choice. The COVID tax, people protest, but people still pay. The other taxes, they are protest, but people still pay. And so, if you want to take or stop those avenues of revenue, that means 6.4 billion Ghana cedis of revenue is out of your consolidated fund, which is huge money. You have a number of projects to complete. When Abuja, you know, Minister Abuja appeared before the committee, there were a number of projects he was asked to complete.
But through him, we got one suggestion of one way to generate revenue: the reintroduction of tolls.
Yes. And the new idea he's bringing, which is going to be the digitalization, is perfect. It goes to remind Ghanaians that there was a candidate who was also preaching digitalization. Not too long, not too long ago, not too long ago. But then, if they had introduced it in the form that it was going to generate a lot of debate and protests from Ghanaians, because road toll have gone away for like a year or two. You know, and we all, anytime we reach those kiosks, we just, you know, bypass. But then, if you're going to bring it as the way it was, it means you have to stop, cause traffic, have to take money and give them, and payment of money. Charlie, everybody tired, you know, and you don't want to bring it that way. But as to how they are going to introduce the digitally manner, he failed to give details. He failed to give details.
I'm sure it's work in progress. They're still tidying up.
And of course, we are all for the good of this country.
He's yet to be made substantive. To be now that he's been approved, he's yet to be sworn in.
We are all for
perhaps
the good
once
of the
he's sworn in. But for Mr. Sapon, I mean, I'm looking for the innovative ways, the innovation he will bring to the GRA, because really that is where the issue will be. The minister, the finance minister, has made it clear at his vetting. And you see, this time around, Ghanaians are listening and will hold every authority to their word.
Ghanaians are expectant.
Exactly.
Expectant.
But you see, it's there's a level of optimism in the system, but it's cautionary optimism. Okay, we are optimistic of a better and improved Ghana based on the promises. But we are also being cautionary because, I mean, reality is there for us to face. You get it. So, I mean, it will be interesting to see the level of innovation that will be brought into our revenue generation, especially from the end of the GRA, and all this talk about widening the tax net. What strategies will be implemented to rope in the informal sector? And you recall that today at Ahmed Ibrahim's vetting, the property rate was quite a big issue.
And to is one avenue. I don't know why successive government have not paid critical attention to property rates. It generates a lot of money, which can even help central governments.
And Ahmed Ibrahim is targeting that for local governance, for the MMDAs, the MMDCEs, to generate revenue through that and not wait for subventions from the central government before they are able to implement projects. So I don't know, perhaps the finance minister, GRA boss, lands minister, local government minister, shows it and find ways of tackling this property rate issue, and of course generating enough revenue for the local level and of course for the central government.
Because government needs money.
Clearly.
Government needs money. Government needs money to do a lot of things. A lot of things. And with the IMF conditions now, going to the international market is not advisable. Already we are told that Ghana is not doing good when it comes to the international market. They're going there to go and borrow will come with a lot of restriction. We just ended the domestic debt exchange program, and which caused a lot of issues in this country as well. So the government needs a lot of money. But then how do you generate the money? You do not want to increase or bring new taxes. Your plan is to widen the tax net. Just tell us how you are going to do it. How are you going to do it so that everybody is identified? Not the regular salary worker who is always, you take your pay slip and you look at your nets and your gross, your life, Charlie, go for it to me. But then, but then you look at the other informal, and the informal sector makes a lot of money than the formal sector.
It's a huge sector. It's a huge sector.
Some time back, I was listening to the government statistician on it was the same inflation, and someone asked question, what's the percentage when it comes to the formal and the informal? And the informal was doing close to 60%,
right?
And the formal was just doing 40%. So assuming we are able to collect just 30%
out of what is left in the informal
out of the 60%, you can imagine how much revenue we can generate for this country than rely on borrowing and bringing up new taxes here and there. Ghanaians are not ready to pay new taxes. Ghanaians are not really willing to pay new taxes. But then we are willing to drive on good roads. We are willing to visit the best of hospital. We are willing to see our children go to the best of schools. We are willing to have our children in school under the free SHS program, eat the best of food. But then we need money to get all these things done. There's an account proof that says that Kwancha DFA.
Right. I agree totally. And then there is the innovation that will come into our taxation system that will give us an idea of how this government is seeking to generate revenue to tackle all the various projects that they need to make life better for all of us Ghanaians. But Sami, I am reading the letter, the appointment letter from the Office of the President, right? And I am seeing here, this is for education purposes. So this is on the letterhead of the Office of the President. Appointment as Acting Commissioner General. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, in accordance with Article 1951 of the Constitution and Section 13(1) of the Ghana Revenue Act of 2009, Act 791, has appointed you as the Acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, pending receipt, and this is where my focus is, pending receipt of the constitutionally required advice of the governing board, given in consultation with the Public Services Commission. Pending receipts of the constitutionally required advice of the governing board. Does the GRA now have a governing board?
Yes, it does. Remember, Joe Gatti was appointed the board chair of the GRA. So now President Mahama dissolved all boards.
Yes.
So there are no boards in existence. Even we don't have the Council of State now.
Exactly.
Fine. So now that we don't have a board. Exactly. That is why, if you realize, all the appointments are acting.
Yes.
So there's acting CEO, acting Commissioner General. Because for now you are acting on behalf of the president until the boards are reconstituted.
Yes.
Then the board can decide to continue your appointment or otherwise, pending the approval from the Public Services Commission. Now, what the Public Services Commission does, like the appointment committee does for ministers who are appointed by the president, The non-ministers' position are done by the Public Services Commission. Now, so if you are appointed, they will require you to come along with your CV. You know, some other relevant documents, and I'm told you go through an interview session. You know, but a lot of the times it's just, you know, the formality that comes with it, not really grilling like we see the appointment committee does. And then if the Public Services Commission approve your nomination, then the governing board of your institution must also be in the know. When they also approve it, then you can start full-time work. That is when the acting is taken away from your name.
And you are made substantive.
And you are made a substantive. So for now, everybody is acting. Everybody is acting now. And there are certain decisions you can't take. There are certain contracts you can't sign. You know, beyond a certain threshold. You can't sign those contracts. And everything of yours is guided from the office of the chief of staff. So if there are very critical decisions you need to take, if you are in acting position, the chief of staff must be aware of it, and then he must give you the go-ahead to sign it or not to sign it, and then you do so on his behalf. So you will sign for the chief of staff, because for now you are acting.
It's important that we put the education out, because I mean, the general question that will arise from this is that quite recently the president dissolved all boards. And so why then does a letter, which of course in legal terms makes it a constitutional requirement for a board to advise. And so in the absence of a board, then it becomes quite confusing. So it's important that I brought it up and that we put that education out there. And so confirmed, Mr. Anthony Sapon of KPMG, who is a senior partner, is appointed acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. And then we have Randy Abe, journalist and of course football administrator, appointed acting Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board. Two key institutions that will help drive the economy of this country. Well, let's go back to Parliament, and then we know that even during the debates on the 6 nominees that have been approved so far, the reports from the Appointment Committee, we know that these 6 have been approved. But while at it, the second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Esiamu Amoako, who presided today, also read to the public, of course, through Parliament, the appointments made by the President to fill the various ministerial positions. And so this will bring to the number 42. 42 ministers nominated by John Mahama so far. These 42, of course, we know that the President has reduced the number of ministries from 30 to 23. And so for the sector ministers of state in charge of specific sectors, all right, that has been covered. 3 are ministers of states for specific functions. So we need to make that clear. 3 for specific functions, and then we have the 23 for the various sectors. And of course, the nominations were done in batches. So let's just give you an overview of the nominations so far. On Thursday, January 9, 2025, the President announced the first batch of nominees. This had Finance Minister designate Dr. Kessie Olatunfor, and Majority Leader currently. It also had John Jinapo, Energy Minister designate, and then the third one was Dominic Akurutenga Ayene, Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice. The second batch of nominations came out on January 16, 2025, and this had Kwame Gavin Agboja, Adakulo, Member of Parliament, heading to the Ministry of Roads and Highways, Eric Opoku, heading to Food and Agriculture, and Haruna Idrisu going to the Ministry of Education. Now, as part of that, because that was a total of 9 nominations on January 16. Mind you, there was 3 earlier nominations on January 9, and then we had 9 more on January 16. And the 9 I've mentioned 3, Kwame Gavins Agboja, Haruna Idrisu, Eric Opoku. The others will be Agnes Namumulate, who is heading to Gender, Children and Social Protection, Ablajifa Gomashi, that's Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Emilia Arthur, Fisheries and Aquaculture, George Opare Ado, that's Youth and Empowerment. And then you had Ahmed Ibrahim, Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. And then there was Elizabeth Ufusue-Jare, that's Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. Okay, so that's also a realigned one. Then the third batch was released today. That's January 21. Today, January 21. The third batch of ministerial nominees unveiled today as read out in Parliament by the second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Amuakon Esiama. You have Dr. Edward Omanebuama heading to Defense, Samuel Nate George, Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. Samuel Nate George, that's the Ningo Prampram MP. For Lands and Natural Resources, that's the Deputy Majority Leader, Emmanuel Amakofibua, Lands and Natural Resources. Then you have Kofi Idi Adams. Kofi Idi Adams going to the Sports Ministry. Kofi Adams is, I think, Buem Member of Parliament. He's heading to the Sports Ministry. Also, it's important to state here that sports has been realigned. It's no longer Ministry of Youth and Sports. It's now Sports and Recreation. Sports and Recreation. So that distinction also has to be clear. Then there's Kwabena Minta Akando for Health. Kwabena Minta Akando, he's been a ranking on the Health Committee of Parliament, and then now he's been nominated to the Health Ministry. Let's go to Environment, Science and Technology. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed is heading to Environment, Science and Technology. Then you have Joseph Bukari Nikpe heading to the Transport Ministry. Joseph Bukari Nikbe, he is heading to the Transport Ministry. Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak, Aswase Member of Parliament, heading to the Interior, Minister for the Interior designate. That's Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, Aswase Member of Parliament. Then there's the Chairman of the Oral Team, Operation Recover or Loot, and the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. He has been nominated Minister Designate for Foreign Affairs, and he will be heading there after going through the vetting process and gaining approval by Parliament, and then subsequently being sworn in by His Excellency the President. Works, Housing and Water Resources. That's Gilbert Kenneth Ajay. Gilbert Kenneth Ajay. He is heading to Works, Housing and Water Resources. And then, Sami, we have Emmanuel Kwejuajekum, Minister. So now I'm coming to the Ministers of State in charge of specific functions. These are not sector Ministers of State. These are Ministers of State in charge of specific functions. You have Emmanuel Kwejuajekum, Minister of State in charge of special initiatives. All right. And then you have Felix Kwachi Ofosu, Minister of State in charge of government communications. And then you have Isifu Seidu, Minister of State in charge of climate change and sustainability. Right. So that's it for the Ministers of State, both sector-specific ministers and, of course, Ministers of State in charge of functions. Right. So, I mean, Sami, that does it for our Ministers of State.
The government is formed. It's formed already.
Basically.
Yeah, basically.
They just need to go through, the vetting and then subsequent approval. Your observations?
Basically, President Mahama promised to form his government within the shortest possible time. And from the list that has been released since last week till now, the possibility is there that he's going to form the administration within the shortest possible time, as he promised the Ghanaian people. From the list that we've seen so far, these are individuals who are well accepted by the Ghanaian people. They were vocal in opposition days, and they knew what they were about. And so appointing them to these positions were not really surprising to many. But then a few of them, which was surprising, for instance, Dr. Edward Omanebuama going to the Defense Ministry. A lot of people didn't see that coming.
Right.
A lot of people didn't see that coming. And so for Dr. Maneboma to go to that ministry, well, he's going to deal with the generals, the senior army officers, you know, the chief of defense staff, the chief of army staff.
Who recently pledged allegiance and loyalty to the president.
And then dealing with, you know, the troops, you know, who are involved in as far as keeping the peace and security of Ghana is concerned. So it's a good appointment, if you ask me. And so that is the only surprising one for me there. But aside that, they were okay. These are individuals who spoke within the sector. But one position which a lot of people are disappointed within the sports, you know, fraternity of the football people or the sports people. I was in the newsroom not too long ago, and our colleagues in the sports department also looked disappointed because they thought Nilante Van der Poel was going to be the sports
was going to make a comeback.
Because when you listen to almost all the sports stations in Ghana, it was one name a lot of people were mentioning because if they wanted someone to deal with the GFA cabal or the GFA mafia, they thought it was Nilante Van der Poel to do that particular job. But unfortunately, his name is not where he's supposed to be. And a few of the sports friends I have look very disappointed. And they want to ask President Mahama that's why all the appeals to him it didn't work out or it fell on deaf ears. But
I'm not sure the appointments are made based on pleas of people.
I mean,
there's the technical competence of the nominee. There's the nominee's integrity, and again his suitability for the position he's being nominated.
And the argument, for instance, I heard our own coach Limini say that why he was backing Nilante was that he's done it before, and they know that he's the only person who can get it right because he's had an experience with the GFA and the ministry. And they feel that if there's anybody who can get it right, we need an experienced person at that ministry, someone who has been there before and knows the ins and outs of the ministry.
You see, that is typical colloquial behavior of applying for a job and being asked to have 5 years of experience before you get the job. If I'm coming fresh from school, where do I get that 5 years of experience from? But then again, if you don't give another person the opportunity, how do you know that the person is competent enough to deal with the issue? And we know the person of Kofi Adams. I mean, Kofi Adams is
Kofi's a great guy.
Person.
Yeah, he's a
solid
great guy. Solid guy.
And he has been, at the top of political discourse since. And so I am sure he knows.
And he's a tough guy, but someone who's able to work with the late former President Rawlings. And you don't have a tough stage. Then you can't hold that position. And I know Kofi can do.
And I think he exudes some of the character traits of former President Rawlings.
He was trained by him.
Exactly. So I think he can do a fantastic job there. Well, let's wait and hear from him during his vetting.
I'm just putting across the sentiment of our friends in the
sports world.
In the sports world. And I even understand that the investors were even willing to invest.
So I don't think the investors will be happy with you. I don't think investors will be happy with you. I see a few people frowning in the studio already. But then also the regional, minister nominees or nominations have also come out. It started from Tuesday, January 14, where the first 10 regional ministers designates were made public. Then there was an addition of 3 more on January 16, and today, January 21, we've had 3 more, bringing the total number to 16. And so you have Pozong Charles Luanga Upper West, Joseph Adai Akwabwa Bono, Francis Owusu Entry Bono East, Wilbert Petty Berntum Western North, Edriamwa Ekopenyi Ochiri Central, Joseph Nelson Western, Ali Adolf John Northern, John Kwejo Japan Oti, James Gunu Volta, Rita Akusia Ajay Awate Eastern, Ibrahim Tia Northeast, Dr. Frank Amwakohene Ashanti, Akamugri Donatu Satanga Upper East, Charity Gardner Ahafo, Salisu Bay Arube, Savannah, and Linda Oklu, Greater Accra. Most of these being party executives at the regional level.
It was the same.
Briefly, in just about 30 seconds.
Yes, it was the argument I was making in the newsroom when this particular regional appointment were made that I feel that when you appoint regional executives to some of these positions, you weaken the party in the region. That's my feeling. And I'll give you a classical example. Remember, briefly, in 2017, when Anado was president, he appointed almost all regional chairpersons as regional ministers. And it affected the party in the region. Because if you compare the vote in 2016 and 2020, there were some, disparity within them. Because these are strong individuals who were leading the party in the area. Now you give them ministerial position, they have divided attention. Now they have to deal with the real work as a regional minister and the party work. And because you are appointed as a regional minister, someone needs to replace you. Is the person going to be the same as you were acting? Is the person competent like the same way that you were? So I feel that when a government comes, even though they've worked hard for the party, you can still maintain them there, but then give them the incentives for them to be comfortable at whatever regional position that they are holding. Because when you hold them out of the party, you weaken the party in the region.
But isn't also not important to reward them for the work they did for the party to come to power?
Reward is not basically ministerial appointment or giving an appointment. There are several ways of reward. By the grace of God, I've been closer to the Jubilee House in terms of my job as a correspondent, and I know how you reward party people without necessarily giving them an appointment. There are contracts, which you can reward them with these contracts. But then you make them bid. All right, they'll go through the bidding process, but things are done and then the contracts are awarded to them. So there are other ways of rewarding party executives who you feel have worked hard to bring you to power than giving them ministerial appointment. And that way you weaken the party in the region, you weaken the party in the constituency, you weaken the party nationally.
I agree with you on that score, because then there will also be appointments of MMDCs, some of whom are also likely to be taken from regional executives, constituency executives,
and already we are told of the long CVs and the long number of people. Because I'm told that here in Greater Accra,
if I'm general secretary and I want to be MC and you are sending me your CV, what are you telling me?
we are told here in Greater Accra, just 29 MMDAs in Greater Accra, and we have over 150 people applying for just 29. And a lot of these individuals will come from the party, from the party stock or the party fold. Now, some may be constituency executives, constituency chairman, secretary, organizer, and the rest. When you appoint them this DCs or MC position, fine, as a reward for them, all right. But then the party is weakened. You need to get someone who will replace the party. The person may not be as strong as the person you are taking out there. And when you want the DCE to also work as a party person, he has the district or the municipality to run already. Coming to add additional party duties may be too much for him or her. So I've always advocated that if you find these are the people who worked hard for the party, you must reward them. But appointment is not the only reward. There are other rewards which are even better and juicy than giving them DCs. DCs and MCs, their salary do not match up to 7,000 a month. Our friends who are DCs and MCs, the highest they go is 8,000 a month. 8,000 cedis a month. And is that the reward? And when you are DC, you are the local champion. Everybody comes to you. When they go to the MP and it doesn't work, they will come to you. They will go to the MP and go and collect from the MP and come and collect from you as well. You have funerals to go, you have social events to go, and there's pressure on you. So I feel party or government can reward party people without necessarily giving them appointments. You can reward them in other ways than giving them appointment. I've always advocated for that.
All right, thank you very much, Sami Wiafe there. Well, it's time now to go back to Parliament. The Appointments Committee is sitting. Let's join that vetting session.
That have come from Greater Accra with us here. I see Reverend Ministers, Queen Mothers, and elders and members of the families of the nominees. We have been discussing how to manage the situation this evening. We had planned that we will consider 3 nominees today. But then also we had a schedule to approve 6 nominees that this committee has already vetted. We thought that we could finish the approval of the 6 nominees early enough to come back and then start working on the rest of the 2 nominees. Unfortunately, those of you who have been monitoring proceedings in the chamber will notice that we have been at it since morning, and it was only around 6:30 p.m. that we finally concluded the approval of the 6 nominees that we have already vetted. We also know, and those of you who have been watching us and are following the proceedings, we know that the average time that we have used to process a nominee is 3 to 4 hours. 3 to 4 hours. Now look at the time. It is almost 8 p.m. And we have our fathers and our mothers. And we have 2 nominees. We have to consider all of them if we are going to consider anyone. So when you add the time needed, average, to be able to vet properly the 2 nominees, we might end up spending between 6 and 8 hours. So if you add 6 and 8 hours to 7:30, 8 p.m., it means that we're going to keep our fathers, our mothers, and their families here till 2 a.m. Meanwhile, the MPs have been working since morning, and you want us to sit till 2 a.m. So we've been having discussions among ourselves, looking at the health of the MPs, and at the same time also the convenience of the nominees and their families and chiefs who we have given notice that we'll vet today, and then they have come and they are waiting for us since morning as they also followed proceedings in the chamber. So we invited King Odaifio Willenche II, the president of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs. He is our father, and his elders, and other chiefs, and we said, you are our father. We invited you here since morning to vet your regional minister. If you want us to, gender, Minister for Gender, your daughter, Minister for Gender, if you want us to carry out the vetting, we will do so. If you insist that we should do it, we will do so. But we're looking at your health, the health of your elders and family members that you have brought here, and our own health as members of Parliament. And His Majesty, having considered the situation, has directed us that he has no problem. He will allow us to end the sitting of the committee and come back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with his elders so that we can expeditiously consider and vet his daughter for the ministry that she has been nominated to. We will also be engaging the chiefs from Bono region who are here to support the vetting of Honorable Elizabeth Ajari. So we are very grateful to Your Majesty, King Odaifio, for giving us that opportunity to consider the nominee tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I want to assure you that we are hoping that tomorrow we can consider them, be able to write a report on, lay the report in the House, and God willing, I believe that the House will approve them tomorrow. That we are also promising to give in exchange for the inconvenience that they have been subjected to today. So this is the message that the chairman has asked me to deliver to the nominees and then their family members and chiefs who
we invited for consideration today but have been unable to do so.
Thank you very much. I proceed to adjourn the vetting meeting to tomorrow at 9.